red, blue, purple light. Friends, red, blue, purple light. Friends, facts, red, blue, purple light. Friends, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts, you can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to Melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road, you better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah, we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts, we in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts, peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Let me know how we sound on the audio, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know how we sounding on the audio. Yo. Peace, y'all. On this beautiful Monday, we are here in the building on this beautiful 1st of September. Happy Labor Day to everybody in the building. We are going to begin with the roll call, and then we're going to start with our show. As you can see, we have an early show today. We definitely want to be able to get you guys this information. While it's somewhat early and whatnot, we don't want to do a late show tonight. We want to make sure that we're responsible and we get this information to you guys. First and foremost, I want to say happy Labor Day to everybody. This channel, Know the Ledger, we honor the doers, all right? We have a lot of respect for the knowers and the thinkers, but it's the doers that make the world go around, you know what I mean? So for everybody out there that is laborious, right? You put things to action. It doesn't matter what you do or what field that you're in or whatever your field of action is. We just want to say salute to you, to the mothers out there, to the fathers out there raising these babies and whatnot. That is, to me, one of the most laborious tasks that you could undertake. So happy Labor Day to everyone. Shout out to everybody in the NYC on the Parkway. You know what I mean? I hope everyone is safe out there. And big up to everyone. All right. Let's go ahead and do this roll call and see where the family is tapping in from. And then we're going to go right into the show. We have our guest in the building, Brother Heru. All right. And today's show, it is about the state of affairs, the health crisis that we are undertaking in Black America. All right. So we're going to get to it, y'all. This is about solutions. So let's go. Twin Cities is in the building. Shout out to the Twin Cities. Shout out to Queens in the building. All right. East 49. Are you near St. John's University by any chance? Let me know. Shout out to Charlotte in the building. All right. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio in the building. All right. Shout out to Charleston. One shout out to Stone Mountain, North Las Vegas. All right. East Flatbush, BK in the building. We have Belize is in the building. Shout out to Belize. Shout out to San Jose, South Kakalaka. All right. Brooklyn is in the building. We have Rome, Georgia in the building. Salute to my family out there in Rome. New Orleans. Yes, indeed. This one is for you specifically, New Orleans. We are on our way to your city. All right. So spread the good word and let everybody know that we're going to be bringing some powerful, powerful solutions to the beautiful state of New Orleans, Louisiana. All right. We have Cincinnati, Ohio in the building. Shout out to Cincinnati, Ohio. All right. Salute. Salute to the Cincinnati family. And shout out to everybody that was with us last night on Sacrilegious Sundays. We had a beautiful, beautiful build speaking about a lot of things going on in the hip hop culture. Shout out to all of y'all. We had a late night one last night. That one, that was a special one. If you did not check that out when you're done with this tonight, make sure you go back and listen to Sacrilegious Sundays. It was a lot of good information in that one. All right. Tampa, Florida, tapping in. Salute. All right. Salute to Tampa. All right. That's where you met Mama. Where's that at? Where'd you meet Mama Pill? Okay, Stone Mountain. Oh, okay. You met Mama Pill and KT at Heru's lecture about 2015-ish. Beautiful. That's what's up. That's what's up. The ATL. All right now. All right now. South Carolina. So shout out to everybody in the building. Salute to everybody pulling up. All right. Shout out to all of y'all. And yeah, that's what's up. Let me go ahead and we're going to get into the show. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up the line. I don't want to have my guests waiting too long. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I want to introduce to you our guest of the evening, the one and only Heru Ofori Atta in the building. Peace.
Peace, my brother. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good, man.
Hear you loud and clear. I was trying to do the theatrics. I had some drum rolls for you,
It's all good.
but I jumped the gun.
It's
All
all
right.
good.
But yes, yes. Welcome back. You were here briefly, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, for the 24-hour marathon that we did last month. I want to say first and foremost, thank you for that. Especially the last minute notice that we gave and you were able to pull
Hmm.
through and pull up. And I want to salute you for that. We got a lot of great feedback the day of. All right. We were getting a lot of text messages about you from people who were hearing about you
Hmm.
and just those who were in the building who heard from you the first time. They were like, can you pass me the brother's information? I got some questions. So I said to myself, what better way to set off September? What better way to start the fall and whatnot? What better way to even commemorate Labor Day than to bring on a brother who is doing some great labor in our community, who is out here healing the people and, not just healing the people, but he has the receipts, he has the testimonials, and he has he has a wave of receipts that he leaves behind. Before we even get into the conversation, I want you to briefly introduce yourself to the family in case they may not be familiar with you, and let them know who you are, please.
Yeah, my name is Heru Ofori Atta. For the purposes of this particular interview, I'm the founder of herbalresults.net. And Herbal Results is a company where we manufacture solutions for health, particularly olive leaf extract, and depending on how deep you want me to go into it, I can tell the story behind everything. But my flagship product is olive leaf extract, which I created my own extraction techniques for and make a very unique brand of olive leaf extract. It's much stronger than any of the brands in the stores that you would go to. And in the market. And we've been doing this since around 2014. And this came out of my work doing experiments with cannabis. So, it harkens back to a documentary that probably some of your listeners would be familiar with called Run from the Cure. And Run from the Cure is about a man out of Canada called Rick Simpson, who was reversing not only his cancer, but other people's cancer in Canada with cannabis oil. And in that documentary, he shows people how to make the cannabis oil. And he had testimonials from people who had all different types of cancer, usually stage 4, who got rejected by the medical system and were told to go home and die. And he had testimonials of them beating the cancer using the cannabis oil. And he showed you how to make the oil. And so at the time I was living in the Caribbean, I was living in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And, there's no shortage of cannabis there. So, the Caribbean has an abundance of cannabis. So I was able to do experiments where I was doing my own extractions because Rick Simpson was using paint thinner. And the paint thinner, I don't want to cover up my face, but I'm just getting comfortable. The paint thinner is carcinogenic. And if you don't boil all of it off, you're left with cannabis oil and paint thinner.
Is that turpentine?
No, he was using naphtha. So the brand is called naphtha. And the really interesting thing is that in the United States, the naphtha has a higher boiling point than the one in Canada. So if he told you to boil it for 6 hours, because it has a higher boiling point in America, you need to boil it a little higher and a little longer. And a lot of people didn't know that. So because of that, it presented a problem. And so what I did was I started researching the solubility of plants. And this is something a lot of people don't realize and a lot of herbalists do not talk about. And it's the solubility of plants. So a lot of times when we make tea, we're engaged in a chemistry scientific experiment. So when you're making tea, the reason why you're making tea is because you're saying that the medicine will be stronger in a liquid substrate medium. Whereas if you make tea, you would just take the herb itself and just eat the herb, right? And the reasoning behind that is because the herb is solid form, and all solids have to go through the digestive process. According to the physician's desk reference manual, solids have a 10 to 30% absorption rate, whereas liquids have a 98% absorption rate. So this is the benefit of making tea. The problem is that most people make tea using the herb and just water, but most plants are not necessarily water soluble, which would be called hydrophilic. Philia meaning love, phobic meaning hate, and so fear. So most plants, a lot of plants, their active medicinal ingredient are actually hydrophobic, and they are lipophilic. Lipo meaning fat, like liposuction. All this is just Latin. And so if you don't know the solubility of a plant, if you're boiling it in water for tea, you're completely wasting your time, because what you're doing is you're assuming that it's hydrophilic. So for instance, I'll give examples of some plants. Turmeric, a lot of people love turmeric, and they'll make turmeric tea. But the problem is that the active ingredient of turmeric is curcumin. Curcumin is not water soluble. It is hydrophobic. So if you boil curcumin or turmeric in water for tea, you're getting nothing. The molecule or the compound of curcumin will not traverse from the solid which is the plant material, into the liquid substrate medium of water because it's hydrophobic. So what you'd have to do is that you'd have to boil it in coconut milk or a fat, coconut oil, which is a healthy fat. So you cook it with that, and then you will get the curcumin to leave the plant into the liquid substrate medium. This is very important information a lot of people don't have. So the same thing with cannabis. Cannabis is not water soluble.
Right.
The cannabinoids are not water soluble. So you have to boil those in a fat. You have to use coconut oil or coconut milk. So there's a lot of people who make ganja tea in the Caribbean. They make it with water and they'll drink it, but they're not getting anything out of it. The moment you add milk, coconut milk or coconut oil to, all of a sudden now you're getting high because the THC, that particular cannabinoid, which is responsible for the psychoactive effect of cannabis, is fat soluble.
Right.
And it goes on and on and on. One of the lectures I was given, it was at it's a place in the Virgin Islands called Bordeaux. So it's a Rasta place where a lot of people do farming, and they have this kind of like pavilion where people meet and have a farmer's market.
Right.
I remember giving a lecture there, and after the lecture, there was this old, Caribbean grandma, and she was telling me how she loved the lecture and how she loved, especially because I talked about oregano oil and how oregano oil is a better antibiotic than amoxicillin. And she was like, "Oh, I never knew that, but I love oregano. I always get my oregano." She had a big bush of oregano. And she goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go home and boil it as tea, Just from this lecture, I'm going to make it." I said, "You boil it as tea?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "What liquid do you use?" She said, "I use water." I said, "You use water?" And I said, "Listen, here's the problem. The active medicinal ingredient of oregano is called carvacrol. That's the medicine. Carvacrol is not water soluble."
Right.
So all this time you've been making oregano tea, you've been using water, you're not getting the full effect because the carvacrol is not going to leave the solid state of the plant and traverse into the water, because it's hydrophobic. You have to make it with coconut oil. When I told her that, her eyes lit up, and she's like, thank you. No one ever told me this." But you see, these little things is what's missing from the discourse. Right. Is that, people talk herbs and this and that, and some people, herbs don't work. Well, they don't work because someone hasn't sat with you properly about solubility.
Right.
Solubility is very important. And so every time that you're making tea, you're engaged as a chemist. And if you don't understand solubility, now you have a smartphone, so you can take your smartphone and always search, what is the solubility of this particular plant? If it's fat soluble, which they will call lipophilic, then you can use coconut oil or coconut milk. If it's water soluble, you can use water. But all of us assume, because we don't get the proper education in a world, doesn't educate people properly, have a trash educational system, doesn't teach you about solubility. So all this time you've been sick and you've been taking herbs and it's not working for you, and you got to go get a pharmaceutical because you never knew that you were boiling it in the wrong liquid substrate medium.
Damn. Okay. Real quick.
Right. So that's number one. Right. So for
the sake of just helping somebody going, just listening to this right now, just kind of losing it. Are there any charts that you've made available?
No, because it's as simple as a Google search.
As simple
All
as
you have to do is put in the particular plant and just put in solubility. What is the solubility of this plant that you're interested in? It'll tell you whether it's water soluble or fat soluble. If it's fat soluble, you use coconut oil. If it's water soluble, you just use water, and as simple as that.
No, that's beautiful.
Okay, that's going to change everything. Now I'll give you another story. Yes. I have a million stories. You just stop me when you get tired of them.
I mean, we here for the science, my brother. We here. They loving it already.
So I had a sister who's a friend of mine. I've known her for about probably close to 20 years, and she called me and she said, "Heru, I've had ulcerative colitis for like a decade now." Right. And nothing's working for it. And I found out that, some people got results with turmeric, but I've been making turmeric tea for months now and nothing's like my ulcerative colitis is getting bad. Like it's really, really bad to the point where they're going to diagnose her with Crohn's disease. Okay. So it starts usually with irritable bowel syndrome. Then they tell you have ulcerative colitis. Then they tell you have Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune illness, basically saying that your immune system is attacking your digestive tract. Okay.
Right.
So she's like, if I get diagnosed with Crohn's, they can put me on all this medication, this and that, but I'm trying to avoid it, but this turmeric's not working. And I said, oh, that's because you're boiling it in water. And she said, how did you know I was boiling it in water? I said, because it wasn't working for you. So this is what you have to do. You have to boil it in coconut milk. So boil it in cold coconut milk and drink the coconut milk after you boil it. And then call me tomorrow and let me know how you feel. She called me the next day and she said, I have no more problem. My ulcerative, the pain I get from digesting food doesn't exist anymore as of today. So I said, well, check me with me in a week because maybe today's a fluke.
Right.
And a week later, and she let me know she's doing good with it. And it was just this little piece of information that no one had informed her about.
Right. To just
and is not informing our people about when it comes to plant science that makes a big difference in people's lives. And it's a very cheap solution. So now the other side of it too is that when I learned this about cannabis, I learned that cannabis was fat soluble. So I developed, because remember the problem with the paint thinner. So Rick Simpson was making the oil out of paint thinner, but paint thinner is carcinogenic if you do not boil all of it off. And so I developed my own extraction techniques of cannabis oil with coconut oil, using the environment that's around me. I'm in the Caribbean, there's no shortage of coconuts. So I could make, coconut oil on my own, or just get coconut oil and then make my own cannabis oil. And at that point, I started giving lectures. And so, as you may know, I have a law degree and I used to practice law. I also have a science degree. So I have a dual type of way of thinking about things, right? So I started giving lectures on the medicinal and legal history of cannabis, right?
Okay.
So when I started giving these lectures, you go over the legal history of how it used to be legal and how actually cannabis oil was the #1 prescribed medication.
Yes.
According to the US and the Canadian Pharmacopoeia in the 1930s and before. So the Pharmacopoeia is just basically an encyclopedia of medical interventions for different illnesses. And cannabis oil was the most famous, the most popular one, but it was taken off because it was made illegal through William Randolph Hearst and Anslinger. Yeah. Right. So and that's a whole different conversation. I don't need to get into all of that, but I would be able to show the legal history, and I'd be able to show why making cannabis a Schedule I drug was actually unconstitutional. So in U.S. constitutional law, there's 3 standards of scrutiny. There's rational basis, that there must be a rational governmental interest, and there's intermediate basis, which is that every law must have an important governmental interest. And then there's strict scrutiny. That's usually the laws that have to do with race. This came out of the civil rights, not civil rights, but after the Civil War. There was a standard of review for race-based laws called strict scrutiny. So that the strict scrutiny meant that the government must have a compelling governmental interest for passing this law. Well, I was able to show that making cannabis a Schedule I drug does not pass strict scrutiny, intermediate scrutiny, or even rational basis for being a Schedule I drug, because a Schedule I drug must have 3 conditions. 1, it must be a drug that has no accepted medicinal use in the United States.
Right.
2, so any drug that's a Schedule I drug falls under this law, federally and state law.
Yes.
State law just copies this federal law. So it says, #1, you must have no compelling, it has no medicinal use in the United States. #2, cannot be safely prescribed by a medical practitioner. And #3, high potential for abuse.
Right.
Cannabis doesn't qualify for any of those because number one, no accepted medicinal use in the United States. You have medical cannabis states, right? For medicinal cannabis, where you can get a license to actually buy medical cannabis. Two, a doctor can prescribe it to you, and they were able to prescribe it to you under even pharmaceutical laws where you had Marinol, which is a synthetic form of THC.
Right.
And then three, potential for abuse. The standard for that is the LD50, which is lethal dosage for 50% of the population. And the LD50, according to a DEA court judge in the 1980s, Judge Francis L. Young determined that the lethal dosage for 50% of the population for cannabis was that you'd have to smoke something like 2,000 pounds within 15 minutes. Right. And I know a lot of Rasta men. I know a lot of Rasta men can't smoke 2,000 pounds in 15 minutes. You know? They might try. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Question.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Is the magic mushroom, does that fall under Schedule 1? Just
psilocybin. Yes,
psilocybin, correct?
Yes,
okay.
Psilocybin does. So when you're able to show this, all three must exist at the same time, and none of the three exist. And so because none of the three exist, it's actually unconstitutional to make it a Schedule 1 drug. And I've written a memorandum of law that's been used in court cases that has dismissed the cases. And the reason why, when you argue this, any lawyer that argues this, they throw out the case because they don't want it to go to appeal. If it goes to appeal, then it becomes binding law for everyone who's been imprisoned for cannabis.
Right.
And it would be declared unconstitutional, which it is. Right. So I would give this presentation, and then I would talk about the medical history of cannabis up until today, where there's a woman called Granny Stormcrow. And she's a woman, I believe she had colorectal cancer, and she used cannabis oil to get rid of it. And she dedicated the rest of her life to researching all of the different scientific studies that are done worldwide on cannabis from all health conditions, A to Z. And she would put together a compilation every year, Granny Stormcrow's list. And it became like hundreds and hundreds of pages. So when I testified in front of the United States Virgin Islands Senate on repealing the cannabis criminal laws, I literally theatrically, I came there with like all the pages of her, her document like this. This is all the science on cannabis and different illnesses. And you're telling me that it has no accepted medicinal use. I did it for theatrical purposes, but it had every single link to the studies, and it was about 400 pages. And so when I would give these lectures, people would be impressed, and I would be able to show people who reverse their cancer with cannabis in studies showing. So you have cancer markers in the blood and for different cancers, and you would be able to see what you call a dose response curve. In other words, the higher the dose, the less the cancer markers would be in the blood, which is what you want to see for the efficacy of a particular.
To say it's effective.
Yes, for a particular medical intervention. And you were able to see this in even people with rare cancers. Now, I was doing this, so whenever I would do these lectures, man, you know how the lectures go. There'd be a line coming out of the room with people one by one telling me the stories of their loved one with cancer, and they need cannabis oil. Right. So here's the problem. I'm giving a lecture in Philly. I'm giving a lecture I'm living in the Virgin Islands at the time. I'm giving a lecture in, New York or Florida or wherever. And then I'm in the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas. People are coming off of cruise ships and they're hearing about my work. Right. And people are calling me. I just got off the cruise ship. I heard you're the guy with the cannabis oil. I need some because I have this dying, my wife is dying or this and that. And it got really bad. And of course, I don't know if this is the feds calling me. I don't know who's, you know what I'm saying? Because it's still federally illegal. And so I wouldn't be able to give it to anybody. I can show you how to make it. Right. I would tell you how to make it, but I wouldn't be able. And I mean, it got so bad. People were offering me $10,000 for an ounce of oil. Right. I mean, they were ready. They were ready to give it to me. But I'm saying, listen, I'll show you how to make it. And I'll show you my technique with the coconut oil. but I can't risk having to deal with these people. And even if I do go to court, I know I would beat the case, but I don't want to be in these people's courtroom.
Right. You get tied up
Right.
in all of the system.
No, I mean, I would represent myself because I used to be a practicing lawyer, and I'm
Right.
very comfortable doing that. But I didn't want to be wasting my time, right?
Right.
So anyway, what I had to do, bro, was I had to look for another plant that could do the same things around cancer that cannabis could do without the same legal perils.
Legal backlash. Right.
Yes. And also there's a couple deficiencies or detractions from cannabis. So one, too many legal loopholes and too many legal perils with cannabis, number one. Number two, a lot of people can't handle the high from cannabis, and cannabis oil is extremely strong. It will knock you out. It'll make you sleep all day long. Oh yeah, it's extremely strong. I'm talking about, like, if you make the oil correctly, particularly the tar type of oil, I'm talking about the head of a toothpick. You can take it and it'll knock you out for the whole day.
Is that what's being used in edible?
Yes, well, in edibles, they're making the food along with the cannabis and extracting it with the oil from the food. But there's a type of cannabis oil that Rick Simpson was making with the paint thinner, and you can make with 99% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and it just comes out as a black tar.
Right.
And it's pure oil. It's not even mixed with coconut oil.
Right.
And the head of a toothpick, you can take it and put it in between your teeth, and within an hour and a half, it works through your liver. It will knock you out, particularly if you're not used to cannabis.
Right.
And you're supposed to get tolerance and take more and more, up to a gram a day, to be able to get rid of the cancer. And a lot of people can't handle the psychoactive effects. However, it's great for pain, and it makes you sleep well, because a lot of people with cancer can't go to sleep because they're in pain. Right. So it's good for that, but a lot of people can't handle the high. You will be higher than you've ever been high in your life. And you won't be functional, because you need to take, there's two main strains, which is indica and sativa. If you have cancer, you want indica. That works
one is an upper, one is a downer, correct?
Yeah. The sativa is what artists use. It creates a lot of creativity. You smoke that, you'll be philosophizing all day long. You know what I'm saying? But the indica is the one that gives you couch lock.
Right.
And so it gives you couch lock, and you just want to really sleep all day. And it's great if you want to sleep all day, but if you want to be functional, it's not great. And a lot of people can't handle it. Imagine a 70-year-old grandma who's never ever smoked a joint, taking it for the first time. A lot of people can't handle it, man. And so that's number two. And then number three, because it's also federally legal, it can be very expensive, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if you go to a dispensary, it can be expensive. If you're getting it from your herb man, it can be, expensive. And so I had to look for, this is what I know about Mother Nature, is that she doesn't just strike once. Mother Nature strikes all over the place.
Right.
So I did research, and I found that the leaves of the olive tree have an active medicinal ingredient that has studies on the U.S. National Institute of Health website showing that it kills cancer tumors between 9 and 12 days in rodents. Yes. So you have to do rodent studies before you do human studies.
Right.
So I saw this 9 and 12. And if you want, I can show some receipts.
Yeah, we love receipts over here. There's a lot of people in the audience that do studies. They like to carry on experiments and studies. So
no problem.
Love it. Before we even go there, I would ask, what about CBD?
Okay.
Did that ever cross your desk?
Yes. Well, CBD is a cannabinoid in the plant, and hemp is designated different than cannabis. Hemp is non-THC cannabis plant. So this is what they use for ropes and clothing material and all of that.
Real quick, I'm sorry. When they outlawed it in the 30s with Hearst and everybody, were they attacking? Because I believe that he was the newspaper magnate, and to push
Yeah,
that line
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So
we get
the
all of this
backstory,
petroleum now from the
yeah,
Gettys. We get
yeah,
nylon, polyester.
yes, sir, yes, sir. You got it.
Um, my question would be, you know, I've been hearing about CBD as this miracle oil that popped up.
Hmm.
So can I
Yeah,
get some of your intake on that as well as we
absolutely.
go down this olive extract? Um,
Yes,
journey?
absolutely.
Okay.
So, for people to know, Hearst, William Randolph Hearst was a newspaper magnate, and he's known as the father of yellow journalism, like the National Enquirer, that type of stuff.
Right.
And he was a very rich man in the publishing industry with newspapers. And just like any entrepreneur, he's looking for ways to maximize his time on a return on investment. And he realized that he was dominating the newspaper market, but he also had competitors. And
Right.
he decided that he was going to buy millions of acres of trees for lumber, for paper, that he would sell paper to his competitors. So even though you're competing against me, you got to buy paper from me, right? For
Right.
your magazine, your newspaper. So he bought these millions and millions of acres of.
The brother will be right back. We've probably had a signal interruption. Let's not get into the conspiracy. While we wait for him, the brother wants to know. Yeah, that would be brother H Factor. I will give you his email. The brother H Factor is the one with the septic tank filter, and yeah, we'll share that. Here we go.
Yeah, yeah, we got somehow something happened. So anyway, um, what happened was that he had all these millions of acres of trees for paper, but after he bought these millions of acres of trees, an invention was made called a decorticator. So before the decorticator, hemp, cannabis, the plant, the stalk, is so
Right.
sturdy that if you try to process it industrially, it would break
Right.
the
It
machines.
would break the machines. Yes. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
until they made a decorticator, which it was like the cotton gin for cannabis, basically. It
Right.
allowed
Right.
you to make industrial levels of paper from cannabis or rope or anything from cannabis. And the thing about cannabis is that it has like a 6 month growth cycle,
Right.
3 to 6 month growth cycle. So that means that 1 acre of cannabis has the productivity of something like 20 acres of trees. And that 1 acre gets replenished every 6 months, whereas that 20 acres of trees that you can use for paper
Right.
takes 20 to 30 years to grow
Yes,
up a tree.
bro.
So
Right.
using cannabis for paper was much more efficient, and cannabis as paper lasts longer. That's why the U.S. Constitution is made out of cannabis, and the Declaration of Independence is made out of cannabis paper. It doesn't
But they would
degrade.
say hemp paper. Is that the
Yes,
same?
hemp paper. Yes,
Okay.
it doesn't degrade as
So
quickly as regular paper from oak trees or what have you, right?
what about
Pine
Bible
trees.
papers? I know
Yeah,
some
that's
people that smoke
parchment
those.
paper and all that. Yeah,
Right.
some of that's actually made from really thinned out hemp paper, but they use regular paper and they just do some other chemical processes to it. But the point was that it was going to put William Randolph Hearst out of business, the decorticator. So what he
Right.
did was he went to his friend William Anslinger, who's the forefather of today's DEA, and said to him, "We've got to make this plant illegal." And so what William Randolph Hearst did was he created Reefer Madness, the
Reefer
movie.
madness
Yeah,
propaganda.
because yes, and newspapers did. And then Harry Anslinger, his brethren, went in front of the United States Senate and said, uh, "We've got to make this illegal because it makes darkies think they're as good as white men."
It
And it
give them
also makes
superhuman strength, and the
yeah, yeah,
women,
and
yeah, it
it
makes the
also
Beckys
makes
choose.
yeah, and it makes them choose black men. And I can share some receipts because a lot of time people are hearing this for the first time, and I can just share some receipts. So when Harry Anslinger made this testimony in front of the United States Senate, it was cannabis was made illegal through the Marijuana Stamp Act. And um, I can share a few of them.
Okay.
So we can go with, yeah, we can go with this one here. All right. Let me share my screen. Share screen.
Was hemp in the Pharaoh's tomb? Yes, it was.
Let's go to Harry Anslinger. Let's go to, yeah, we can go entire screen.
Okay.
Okay. And Brave tab. Here we go. So can you see this here?
Yes, sir.
Harry Anslinger right here. Reefer makes darkies think they're as good as white men.
What the hell?
You see that?
Yeah.
This was a testimony in front
Right.
of the United States Senate. And there's another testimony he had. Oh, yeah, this one here. Harry Anslinger. There are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the United States, and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result from marijuana usage. This marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and any others. And it made, they passed that law quick.
Right.
Yeah. The
God.
primary reason to outlaw marijuana is its effect on degenerate races, referring to us. Okay.
So historically, it could be said that I mean, I'm just saying hypothetically, but so when our brothers and sisters are being sentenced to these arcane laws and whatnot, and sent all up and down the United States and these federal prisons and whatnot, it's the foundation of these laws ultimately were already
Oh yeah.
made to put us in chains and
Oh yeah,
whatnot.
yeah. I mean, I can even go further with Screwface number 2 is Richard Nixon. So
Right.
the Dangerous Drugs Act, which scheduled cannabis to Schedule 1, was actually done by Richard Nixon when he put out a study on cannabis. And when they came out with the study, the scientists said it's actually cannabis is good.
Right.
And he said, I can't believe you all are saying this, and ignored them and made it Schedule 1 drug.
Right.
And the reason why it was made Schedule 1 drug, and this is actually confirmed by his chief of staff. I forget what it is. I think is it Ehrlichman? Nixon chief of staff. I think it's Roger Ehrlichman or something like. He admitted that the scheduling of marijuana to be Schedule 1 was to be able to give the stiffest penalties to people who were part of the Black Power movement and the peace movement against Vietnam. Saw that cannabis was their drug of choice, and so he wanted to have the stiffest penalties for it. I can tell you the guy's name, and so it's the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1970. Is it Haldeman? Must be Haldeman.
Okay.
Yeah. Haldeman. Okay, Nixon chief of staff, Haldeman, and you can just put in cannabis and blacks and black people. And he talks about it. He talks about it like openly. So yeah. And here's the thing: anyone who's ever gone to law school, oh, here we are. Look at that. Here we go. You see, I don't like to just talk. I like to give people receipts, because a lot of times people are hearing this.
That's a lawyer background.
Yeah, it's very important to give people receipts. So here we are right here. And I didn't mean to get into cannabis so long, because there's so much more to talk about. But
no, not at all, my brother. We are all in school learning right now. I really appreciate this history lesson.
No problem.
Things into context.
You see this right here?
Yes.
Nixon advisor admits war on drug was designed to criminalize black people.
Black people.
That's him right there on the left. So this is what they're talking about. Everyone should read this. John Ehrlichman. Yeah, that's what it is. I got it right.
Okay.
It was John Ehrlichman.
Right. Sherilyn said it. Yep. Sherilyn said John.
Yeah, John Ehrlichman. That's his name right there. And so he talks about it. And anyone who wants to actually do, it says right here, Ehrlichman said in a 1994 interview, you want to know what this was really all about. The Nixon, let me make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. Because, a lot of times people hearing this for the first time and they're like, oh, you're just making this up. And there's going to be more. I'm going to say this, going to just make people think that I'm making it up. But I always come with receipts. And that's what I do at all my lectures. He says, you want to know what this was really about? He went on. The Nixon campaign 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and the black people. And black people, you understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black. In other words, you have freedom of speech and you have freedom of association. So you're free to associate as a black person or to be a black person. So he couldn't make that illegal. They'd love to make it illegal. But by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. Okay, and it's there. I mean, you could talk about it more and more. I could go even deeper into it, but we don't even need to do that. But what happened was that I had to find another plan that could reverse cancer, because what happened was that the oil that I was making was getting results with people in cancer. There was a brother in Philadelphia who came to one of my lectures, and he learned how to make the oil, and his father in Jamaica had cancer. He made the oil and it reversed his cancer. And, the word was spreading that the oil that I was showing people to make was reversing people's cancer, but most people don't want to make it. They just want to purchase it. And
real quick, I'm sorry. Could we give a definitive breakdown of exactly what cancer is?
Okay. So, and this gets into a whole nother part of the conversation, but it's a good segue. So,
because it's such a big thing in our community. I'm sorry. It's such a, it's like the big C. It's so domineering. There's so many different cases of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to give
I'm dealing with 62 cancer patients right now.
Wow.
People call me every day with cancer.
Wow.
And so according to the medical system, the cancer they have what you call a mutagenic theory of cancer. And it's actually the incorrect theory of cancer. And the reason why we know this, the incorrect theory of cancer, is because of first principles thinking. And I'm going to get into first principles thinking. It's a way to deal with problem solving. So what they're saying is that under the mutagenic theory of cancer is that there is a mutation of your somatic cells in terms of the mutated genes of the somatic cells that cause uncontrolled division. Right. So this uncontrolled
rogue.
Yeah. This is basically what they're saying is uncontrolled division of mutated somatic cells. So there's two types of cells. There's somatic cells and what they call germ cells. The germ cells are your reproductive cells. Funny that they call it the germ cells. Then all the other cells are called somatic cells. So your reproductive, your germ cells are what are not considered in this. It's the somatic cells. So the somatic cells have an uncontrolled division through some type of mutated gene. Now, what that allows them to do is to start breaking cancer down on gene or genetic cell lines, which then allows them to get to say breast cancer has 22 different types based on 22 different gene expressions of cancer. And now they can get 22 sources of funding for breast cancer research. Now, here's the thing. The reason why this is important is because if they had the correct theory of cancer, you would see the cancer rates going down.
Right.
So this This is just logic. If you hire me to stop leaking of a dam, you know, the dam that like holds back rivers and lakes and all that. If you hire me because it's leaking, and I tell you, okay, I'm the world's expert in stopping dam leaks, right?
Right.
But 25 years from now, the leaks are going to double.
Right.
Because the World Health Organization has said that by 2050, the rates of cancer are expected to increase by 70% to 100%. The rates of cancer and the deaths of cancer. The World Health Organization has said it. So these leading scientists are telling you that they have no hope for a solution, and actually the leaking of the dam is going to get worse.
Right.
That means that they have the wrong theory of cancer, because if you have the correct theory of cancer, the numbers should be going down. You shouldn't be projecting that the numbers are going to go up. Just like heart disease. They have the wrong theory of heart disease. They think it's based on cholesterol, but that's based on faulty science. It is actually proven that it was based on faulty science, because the main guy who posited the cholesterol theory of heart disease is a guy named Dr. Ansel Keys. And then they found out after he died that all of his studies, he kept them in his basement. Like, it's a crazy story. He kept the studies in his basement, and they found out that all his studies were fraudulent.
Really?
Yeah. His name is Dr. Ansel Keys. So there were two doctors at the time, right? I mean, we can chop it up. Let's chop it up. All right. Listen. So you had two doctors like in the 70s or the 80s debating the cause of heart disease. You had one guy called, and I'm going to get back to cancer. So you have one guy called Dr. Ansel Keys, who's a nutritionist, PhD. Right. Then you had another nutritionist called Dr. John Yudkin. Mm-hmm. Dr. John Yudkin said the cause of heart disease is sugar. Dr. Ansel Keys said the cause of heart disease is cholesterol.
Right.
Okay, guess what happened? The sugar industry put their money behind Ansel Keys.
That's
right. Started maligning
that.
Dr. John Yudkin and saying he's an idiot. You don't know his thing, blah, 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 blah. So right. John Yudkin was marginalized, and the pharmaceutical industry said, we can create drugs based on this theory that lower your cholesterol. So a whole body of drugs, pharmaceuticals, was created called statin drugs, which is $1 billion industry. But we know that it's the wrong theory, because these drugs were created in the 1980s. And since the 1980s, heart disease has gone up.
It's going up. Facts.
So if lowering your cholesterol was the key to solving heart disease, statin drugs would have lowered the number of people dying from heart disease. This is just first principles thinking. This is how you know that they had the wrong theory, because they're applying their solution, but the situation keeps getting worse. This is how you know that the medical establishment, pharmaco-medical complex, has the wrong theory of cancer, which is a mutagenic theory of cancer, because the numbers keep getting worse. Right. They've projected that the numbers keep getting worse. And so hold on. What I'm going to do first, because some people are like, oh, what you're saying about heart disease, how can you? We're going to put in, and I'll show people how to do this. You can just go to Google and just put in Ansel Keys fraud.
Ansel
Keys fraud. And what you're going to see, one of the first things you'll see is from Scientific American. And I'm going to share the screen, so I want to give people receipts. Let me give y'all receipts. So one of the first things you'll see is records found in dusty basement undermine decades of dietary advice.
Oh, Lord.
Do you see it?
I see it.
Okay. What these records was the records from Ansel Keys. They found out that all of the studies that he used to say that cholesterol caused heart disease were actually made up studies. And everyone should read this. Wow. Read this article. Records found in dusty basement undermine decades of dietary advice. Okay, and everybody should read this.
Wow.
Okay, and it's there, and all that information is there. All of it is there. Okay, so it's about cholesterol being a fraud, and so the thing is, for the people listening, cholesterol is actually needed by the body. Okay.
Right.
So anyone can just look it up. Just put in Ansel Keys fraud. Okay. The truth about Ansel Keys. We've got it all wrong. Keys was a fraud. Do you see that? Okay. BizNews.com. The greatest health scam of the century.
Lord have mercy.
Ansel Keys. Okay, scientific fraud and deception that overturned the belief that science was the purest, cleanest, and most useful of all human endeavors. Here, Ansel Keys, Cholesterol Con Part 1. Okay, so I'm just telling people, like, just, you know, everything I'm sharing with you can be researched and looked at. So what happened was that your parents and your grandparents are still on cholesterol drugs. And one of the main side effects of cholesterol drugs, because it lowers cholesterol, guess what needs cholesterol? Cholesterol, the building blocks to your hormones. And your brain needs cholesterol. So what happens is that when you lower cholesterol in the body, guess what happens? The brain no longer gets the cholesterol it needs, and the brain cannot function. Then you get diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia. So from the people that I talked to, the main cause of Alzheimer's and dementia is statin drugs. So if you have any old folks or anybody in your family who's got Alzheimer's dementia, the first question that you ask is, are you on statin drugs? And if they're on statin drugs, this is a quick fix. You get them off the statin drugs, and within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, their memory starts coming back because cholesterol starts coming back in their body. Okay, but that's the cholesterol thing, right? I'm just talking about first principles thinking.
Right.
Back to cancer now. They have the wrong theory of cancer. They have a mutagenic theory of cancer. There is another doctor. So I have my own theory of cancer based on the research, and we're going to talk about that. Okay. And I've written a book on this, and this is my book, and this is what it looks like. Anyone can go to herbalresults.net and look at the book, but I'll show you all a link to the book, and I'll just tell you, from the title, what the book is about and what these theories are and the importance of knowing what these theories are. All right. So this is the book. I wrote this book last year, and in the book is 3 chapters, because it's all you need is 3 chapters.
Okay.
What it is that the first chapter, let me share the screen. This is it here. You go to herbalresults.net. You go to shop. Everyone can see this. You go to shop. And then when you go to shop, you'll see the different products. And this is the ebook here.
Okay.
And this is the title. And the title is going to be very indicative of what I'm about to talk about. It's going to be very instructive. It's called The Successful Eradication of Cancer Using an Intracellular Parasite Theory. An interactive ebook. Chapter 1 is scientific evidence. Chapter 2 is testimonials of people who've gotten reversals using an anti-parasitic approach to cancer. And chapter 3 is my full protocol. It tells you all the products, the dosages, where you get the products from, with the links. So it's an active ebook. The testimonials are video links. So you click them and you hear people talking from all over the world who've had all different types of cancer. Doesn't matter where it is in their body, and they've gotten reversals. Now, here's the thing. Why was I able to write this book? I was able to write this book because, remember, I was getting cancer reversals with cannabis, and I had to find a different plant.
Right.
And then I saw this study here. Oh, let me share my screen here. I had to find this plant that could do something that cannabis does around cancer. And I did. Because Mother Nature doesn't only strike once, she strikes all over the place. And this was the first scientific study that I found. So if you go to my website, herbalresults.net, you see I have a science page. So what I do is I give people not only just testimonials, and we'll go over the testimonials page, but I give people the scientific studies as well for why we make the products that we make. Okay. So you'll see olive leaf extract science, moringa science, and cilantro science, and vitamin D science. But check this out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you brought up moringa.
Yeah.
And I've been asking a lot of people in my community, Whatever happened to moringa? That was the hottest. That was the miracle plant. That was like 2012, one of the
Yeah,
hottest things going on in our community, and it just completely disappeared. So I'm
yeah,
glad that you brought up moringa because it used to do great wonders by me. I have it in my closet in the
yeah.
kitchen right now.
Moringa? So what we found is moringa works better with cilantro, and cilantro works better with moringa. So we created a product called Moringa Lantro. But moringa is a very
Right.
serious plant. It has it's very nutrient dense, and it's also um, anti-inflammatory, and it modulates weight. So what it does is that if you're overweight, it helps you burn fat in your sleep. And if you're underweight, it increases your appetite. So what it
Right.
does, it brings weight into homeostasis. It's a very serious plant. So
Mm,
when we got to the olive leaf extract and I saw the studies, this is the first study that I saw. So what you'll see on my website is you will see olive leaf extract science segregated to different diseases. So high blood pressure. So what happened was that I found that it not only worked for cancer, I found studies that it reverses diabetes. I found studies that olive leaf extract reverses high blood pressure, that it reverses all different type kidney failure, all these types of things. And then I started with cancer. But this was the first study that I saw, and I'm going to just show people this study. Um, Here it is. And all my studies are from the U.S. National Institute of Health, right? This is the government website, National Library of Medicine, National
right.
Institute of Health, PubMed. Do you see this old European? That's the active ingredient of olive leaf extract. Non-toxic olive iridoid is an anti-tumor agent and cytoskeleton disruptor. This is important. This is the first study that I saw. And here's what it says. This is what's important. When administered orally to mice that develop spontaneous tumors, Old European, which is the active ingredient of olive leaf extract, completely regressed tumors in 9 to 12 days.
12 days.
When tumors were resected prior to complete regression, they lacked cohesiveness and had a crumbly consistency. That's very important. No
Right.
viable cells could be recovered from these tumors. They were dead.
They
What
were dead.
happened is that what olive leaf extract does is when it comes to cancer tumors, it kills the tumors by dissolving the exoskeleton of the tumor, so it has no form anymore. So
Right.
like
Breaks
it
it down.
melts. Yeah, it breaks it
Right.
down, it melts. And that's the way it kills parasites as well. Okay, so here's the deal. I said, oh, I found a solution that can help people with cancer that doesn't make them high, that's not illegal, and that's very inexpensive. So
Right.
remember, by that time, this is around 20. So if anyone who's following me on Facebook around 2011 and 2012, that's when I'm doing the marijuana science in Bitcoin. And I'm telling everybody, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. I'm posting it. People like, you crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. This a Ponzi scheme. And at that time, Bitcoin was under $100. Right now, Bitcoin is $110, $10,000.
1,110.
Yes.
Yes,
It was
sir.
under $100, and I was just steady buying Bitcoin because I read the white paper and
You
I
read the white
understood.
paper. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the Bitcoin white paper, and I understood
The
that,
science.
I said, yo, these people got only one move. They're going to print money. And every time they print money, it devalues the value of the money.
Right.
And that's all they're going to do, which means that's where you get your inflation. That's why things cost more. That's why your house appreciates in value. It's not that your old house is getting more valuable. It's that the amount of money it takes to buy your house requires more money. So that's how your house becomes more valuable. Just like, the amount of money 20, years ago, $20 could fill up your grocery cart. Now $20 can get you 2 or 3 items. That means that the value of money has gotten weaker and weaker, and it gets weaker and weaker as they print more money into the monetary supply, and that's the only move they got, which means that when you have something like Bitcoin and it's capped at 21 million and it can't be printed anymore, you're going to have exponential value growth. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation in economics, right? But during that time, we can talk about that extensively.
Please. Yeah.
I mean, I'm an early investor in Bitcoin. We can talk about that extensively. I mean, very extensively. But
thank you.
But here's the deal. During that time, I was posting about cannabis and cancer and Bitcoin. That's all I was doing on Facebook, and I was trying to tell people. But it is what it is. But I stopped and started getting into olive leaf extract because 1, it's cheaper. 2, it doesn't make you high, and 3, there's no legal problems with it. So to
Ramifications
me,
to it.
and then not only that, I found studies that not only does it kill cancer, it reverses high blood pressure. Not only does it reverse high blood pressure and cancer, it reverses diabetes, high blood sugar.
We
It
gotta
is
talk
also
about that.
anti-inflammatory.
Yes.
It also kills parasites, viruses, bacteria, and fungi.
Right.
So I said, wow, this is all in one. I got to do this. And remember, by that time, I had learned how to extract medicine from plants extremely well.
Right.
So now that I have, and I understand solubility. So now you're giving me this plant that's doing everything. I'm making the strongest form of olive leaf extract in the world. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know how to extract it this time through my, journey with cannabis. And so I'm making it and I'm selling it at the local farmers market in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
And I'm having it in my trunk. I'm making it in my house. I'm bottling it and I'm selling it. And people are starting to find out about it. Mainly people with high blood pressure and then diabetes, because I gave it to people. So the first thing I did was any good scientist will use their own concoctions. So first, before you give it to him, so I took it first. And what it did was within a week, it got rid of my eczema that I had for over 20 years behind my ears. I had eczema behind my ears, both ears, for over 20 years. I took the olive leaf extract, got rid of it.
Wow.
And then within a week after, it got rid of my asthma. I've had athletic asthma all my life.
Right.
And if you know anything about the islands in the Caribbean, a lot of the islands are very mountainous in terms of their topographical makeup.
Right.
And you better be very fit to walk up those mountains, those hills, because it's very steep. And because of my asthma, sometimes I'd be walking and I'd feel like I was about to pass out.
I mean, St. Thomas and John's are basically islands. Like you hit the island and
they're the slopes. Yeah, that's all it is. Exactly. Right. So that's where I was living. So it was like, man, it was rough on me in my asthma. But then when I took the olive leaf, I'm able to run up the mountain.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm saying, all right, this works. It worked on me. So then I gave it to friends of mine who had high blood pressure.
Right.
And there was one brother who had his blood pressure was 220 over 110. He took the olive leaf extract I made, and within 24 hours, his blood pressure went down to 128 over 72.
Wow.
That's when I knew it worked. And then I had people who had blood sugar over 300. They took it and their blood sugar went down to 98 within 24 to 48 hours. I said, we got something here. And so I'm steady selling it. And then this was the monumental moment. I'm going to share this with you in terms of my testimonials page.
Okay.
I get a phone call, Phil. And the guy on the other line says, is this the brother are you the guy who makes olive leaf extract?
Right.
I say, yeah, I'm the guy. He said, I want to tell you something. I said, yeah, what? He said, I want to thank you for saving my life. And I said, what happened? He said, I had prostate cancer and nothing worked for me. And I was bedridden and I was urinating blood.
He was in hospice?
He was bedridden. He wasn't in hospice yet, but he was in bad shape.
Blood. Oh my goodness.
He was urinating blood. He said, I took your olive leaf extract. My symptoms went away in 2 weeks, and 2 months later, my cancer is gone. He said, if there's anything that I can do for you, you let me know. I said, there is something you can do for me. He said, what? I said, you can do a video interview so that we can keep a library of this. Now, why is this important? See, many times you go to websites when people are making products, and they'll have a written testimonial with someone's name. They'll say, oh, this was great, Sheila E. from Kansas. And you don't know who it is. You don't know if it's a real person, whatever. And I also know that people are very skeptical. And I know that there's a lot of people who are snake oil salesmen. Yes. And because of my legal training, I know the burden of evidence. And I have the burden. If I'm saying something so outlandish, that something very simple and very cheap, a $40 bottle or a $40 bottle or $65 bottle of olive leaf extract is reversing cancer, I better prove it, because you're giving people false hopes.
That's facts.
Right? You can't play with people like that. So I said, what I've got to do, I have the scientific studies to back me up, but I need to be able to have real testimonials. And so what I did was I said, let's record you. And so I'm going to share my screen. Anyone can go on herbalresults.net, go to the testimonials page. And this is the brother right here, Dr. Charles Harrigan, right here.
Okay, so he's a doctor himself.
Yeah, but he's not a medical doctor. He's a doctor of education.
Okay.
But I do have medical doctors who I've worked with to reverse their cancer. And I'll show you, we'll go over it. But this is the first cancer reversal that I got, him right here. Anyone can just press play and you can watch the testimonial. And it's him telling his story.
Actually, I didn't have a whole lot of symptoms. I was only diagnosed because...
And he talks about it.
Right.
And he talks about what they put him through. And they were going to put him through a thing called, I think it's brachytherapy. And they were going to inject radioactive seeds into sectors of his prostate. But check this out, Phil. They told him is that when we inject these radioactive seeds, you cannot go around pregnant women because you'll be so radioactive that you could harm the fetus. This is what they're doing. And so anyone can watch this. So his PSA went from 5.9 to 0.45 in 2 months. So anything over 4 is considered risk of cancer or cancerous. And his went down to 0.45 and his doctors had nothing to say. Okay. Now, what you're going to see on the website is this. On the testimonials page, you go home, shop testimonials. You're going to see not just his testimonial. You see video of cancer tumors and reversals. Right. And you will see, and none of these interviews are short interviews. They're in-depth interviews. They go over an hour long. And they're people telling their story, man. So you'll see this brother here, Crawford Peterson, stage 3 prostate cancer. Tumor covered 90% of his prostate, 97% of his prostate. His PSA was 150, and it went to 0.1 within 3 months. No evidence of tumor. He's cancer-free. No medication, no nothing. No chemo. He didn't do any chemo. He didn't do any radiation, nothing. All he took was the olive leaf, and he did the protocol. And we'll talk about it. Zach Richardson, he's out of Tallahassee. 90 days to live with esophageal cancer.
Oh my goodness.
This is him in the hospital. They gave him 90 days to live. They told him the only chance that he's got is if they take out his esophagus, and they were going to stretch out his intestines to his throat to replace his esophagus. He said no.
What?
Everyone should watch this. Everyone needs to watch these stories, man. You just hit play, and it's me interviewing the people.
All right, everybody.
They're telling their story.
Listeners,
they're talking about how they got their recovery. So basically, I'm just documenting the work. And these people are alive and well. You can look them up on Facebook. I even have people who come to me who want to talk to them. You can talk to them. Like you can call them on the phone and talk to them. You know? Because what cancer patients want is they'd love to be able to talk to somebody. This is what your oncologist will not provide. They will not provide references of people who they treated and reversed their cancer where you can call them and talk to them. They won't do that because they don't have those people. They have people in remission, but then it usually comes back. And the reason why it comes back because they have not addressed the root cause of the cancer because they're treating it based on a mutagenic theory of cancer, not the true cause of it, which we're going to get into. All right. This sister here, stage 3 endometrial cancer, endometrial uterine cancer, cancer-free after taking the olive leaf extract. This was the second person who got a cancer reversal. Her name is Velma Samuel out of the Virgin Islands. She called me a month after he called me. She said, "Are you the guy who makes the olive leaf?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "I want to thank you for saving my life." Same conversation. "Anything you can do, I'll do it for you." I said, "Yes, you can do a video for me." So this is her. She had a big breast tumor, gone, completely disappeared within about a month and a half. Okay, and she tells her story. So it's just me asking people to tell their story, and they tell their story. So you'll see this.
As it should be. It should be. This is excellent, my brother. You'll
see stage 4 breast cancer. You'll see stage 4 liver cancer reversal. Here, spread to different parts of the body. This is Mitzi and Jimmy Smith from Louisiana. You got to listen to them. There's some old time country folks, and they talking about their reversal. And then it was Jimmy who was sick. When they called me, Jimmy couldn't talk. She had him on the phone. She was crying. Mitzi's the wife. She's crying. Jimmy's basically on his deathbed. They said, "There's nothing we can do for you." He can barely talk. He's mumbling. I tell her what to do. She takes the olive leaf extract, gives it to him. And within a month, I think 3 weeks, he's up and gone fishing and back to work. Everyone needs to listen to this interview.
Wow.
This is Dr. Kenneth Nave, doctor of internal medicine. This is a medical doctor, stage 4 cancer. He called my radio show. I have a radio show that I do every Monday morning called at Sankofa Revolutionary Radio. It's an online radio show, and I talk about health for an hour. People call in from all over the world, and I help people out. And he happened to call in.
Do we have a link for that, my good brother?
Yeah, it's just called WYSP.
I want to drop that in my chat so they could, yeah.
Or SYP. Let me see. SYP. I'll get the link for you. It's either SYP or YSP. Yeah, here.
Don't let me throw you off.
No, I got it.
There's anybody in the audience?
WSYP. Yeah, it's WSYP. I'm about to give y'all the link. Yeah, it's WSYP. WSYP 95.1. Okay, and I'm going to put the link in there so people can get in and you know, just tune into the show. Here it is right here. I'm going to give you all the link. I'll put it in, and there's a bunch of other folks, and you know, it's not just me. It's really some great people doing great work in the show. Let me put something in the chat that says join the chat. I can comment.
You either put it in a private chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in a private chat to you, and then you can. Yeah. That's it right there, bro. So, as far as the testimonials go, so this particular guy is a doctor of internal medicine out of Chicago. He called my radio show. Stage 4 lung cancer spread to his brains. 8 tumors in his brain.
Oh my goodness.
Spread to his spine. It's there. I mean, it's all here. And within 4 months of taking antiparasitics along with the olive leaf and other herbs, that are antiparasitic herbs, I'm going to get into all of them for your listeners and your watchers.
Yes.
4 months, he was declared no evidence of active disease. And this is a long interview that I have with him because we start talking, you know, a lot. Right, greetings. And he almost died from sepsis because when he was in the hospital, his chemotherapy port that they were going to give him got infected. So this is a doctor who was treated with negligence in the hospital system in Chicago.
Oh my goodness.
So we talk about it. We talk. I mean, his colleagues. This is crazy.
Right.
But we talk about it. He used antiparasitics. All right. And he used the olive leaf extract. This brother here came to one of my lectures in Washington, D.C., told me I got stage 4 cancer. Whatever you tell me, I'm going to do it. This is Ron Bush, 78 years old. His cancer spread to his lungs, stage 4, spread to his brains and his back.
Oh, Lord.
And cancer-free. This is a brother that I know personally, and he told me he had prostate cancer. Well, we got rid of that. He tells his story. This is a woman called Renee out of Atlanta. She came to my lecture, but she had heard about. All right, so look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna take this off share, but just remember her face. Let me just tell y'all her story. Well, before I tell y'all her story, I'm just gonna go through some of these. This is a brother out of Atlanta whose friend came to my lecture in Atlanta a couple months ago, and he had prostate cancer, and we just got a reversal. Excuse me?
He was diagnosed for 2 decades, it says.
Yes, with prostate cancer. Lord. And he's 66 years old, and he started the protocol in July. And within 2 months, his PSA went from 27 to 0.5. So he's cancer free. There's a brother out of Atlanta, Rodney Merriweather. We just covered his story last week. And then yesterday, this is Renee Denard, 76-year-old, stage 4 liver cancer. She was given 6 months to live in February. Her 6th month was August 16th. And she's still here. And not only is she still here, she's cancer free. Her doctors don't know what to say. She refused chemotherapy and radiation. She only took the olive leaf extract. Not only is her cancer gone, her high blood pressure is gone, and her pre-diabetes is gone. She's on no medication. But let me get back to this woman's story. Okay? And now let me look at the viewers. Her name is Gerald Renee, coming out of Atlanta, stage 4 adenocarcinoma cancer. So people who follow me on social media always post these receipts,
Right.
of these stories. And so, people have gotten to know the work that we do at Herbal Results. And so I have people who really follow my work. And so there's one sister who's been following my work, and she's in the insurance industry.
Yes.
And apparently she handles insurance for cemeteries. Like when people die, you get cemetery insurance.
Yes.
So this particular woman, Renee, comes to the cemetery, and she's looking for a burial plot. The sister, who's my Facebook friend, greets her and says, sorry about your family member. This is the normal thing that you say because people are picking out for their family member. Sorry about your family member.
Everything.
Condolences and all that. Renee says to her, this isn't for my family member, it's for me. She said, what? She says, I'm picking out a burial plot for myself because I've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. They say it doesn't look good. And I should get my affairs in order. And so to save my family the stress of picking out a burial plot, I'm just going to do it. And the sister, her name is Kai Wilson, said, listen, it's not over for you. I know somebody you need to talk to. There's a brother named Heru. He runs Herbal Results, and I have a feeling that he can help you. And I remember getting a text from Kai that day. Heru, there's someone I saw. I know you can help her. So
you got people at the cemetery working for you.
Yeah.
That's genius.
So here's the thing. We don't really do any marketing.
Right.
Because what I learned is that if you make a superior product, all of the people who enjoy your product and have gotten results from your product, they will be your marketing team.
So
the money we spend,
powerful marketing.
Yeah. So the money that we spend in Herbal Results is not on marketing and trying to convince you to buy our product. We spend it on research and development to make the best products possible.
Facts.
With the best results. Because what happens is that everyone wants to live, and everyone wants to live in a non-toxic way. So the people who come to me with cancer usually fall in 4 categories. The first category is the people who don't want nothing to do with the medical system because of their politics, their worldview, or their experiences that they've had through family members or they themselves. They don't want nothing to do with any doctors or any, chemotherapy. They don't want nothing to do with it. So they just want to do the natural thing. Those are the easiest people for me to deal with. The second group of people are the people who did chemotherapy and radiation and surgery and it didn't work. They've been sent home to die.
Right.
The medical system has said, we can't do anything more for you, which is not that's not a scientific diagnosis. It's a financial one. What has happened is that the insurance companies won't pay anymore. So because they won't pay anymore, they kick you out and say, go home and die, basically. Go to the hospital. Yep. So then those people contact me as a last resort. And those people are kind of difficult for us in terms of it takes longer to heal them because their immune system has been destroyed by chemotherapy.
Right.
And radiation. A lot of people don't realize is that chemotherapy is actually mustard gas from World War I and World War II.
Facts. You're getting gas.
It completely kills the immune system. And the immune system is what you need to fight cancer.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a crazy way of doing things. So anyway, and that's a whole lecture onto itself. But those people come to me when they've exhausted all of the so-called conventional methods. Then there's a third group of people who come to me who've gotten cancer diagnosis and they want to do chemo and my protocol.
Right.
They want to do both. So those are the people that I call the trust in Allah but tie your camel people, right? It's like, we're gonna do everything. We're gonna do chemo, radiation, Heru's thing, whatever. We're gonna do it all together. And there's people who got reversals doing that as well. And then, then there's the fourth group of people, and that's the group of people who don't want to talk to me, but they have a family member who's in one of those 3 categories.
Right.
who's telling them to call me because of 1, 2, 3. They, they're in one of those categories, and they tell them call me. Those are the hardest people to deal with because they don't really talk to me. They're only doing it because they have a family member who's not, who's really, really not trusting the medical system. Right. So those are the hardest people for me to deal with. All right. So we're getting these reversals. So Renee ends up doing the protocol, and her all of the tumors from her lungs go away in a few months. About 90% go away. She had some in her brain too because it spread. It was stage 4. It means it metastasized.
Right.
She still had some in her brain, but it went from.
How big are these tumors?
I mean, they were quite big, but they were several. I actually have the scans. When I do a lecture, when we do New Orleans, I'll show you the scans. She showed me the scans where the tumors, her lungs were completely filled with tumors.
Oh, Lord.
She couldn't breathe. She couldn't walk upstairs.
Oh, my God.
Now she can run, and she's jumping on a trampoline every day.
Right.
Her blood pressure, her high blood pressure is gone. Her diabetes is gone. So now we're just working on the brain tumor aspect.
Right.
But what's been gone to stop her from breathing, the lung, which was the original source of the tumor,
cleared up. Right.
It's gone. It's cleared up. And she talks about it. But she only knew about it because she went to go pick out her burial site.
A burial site.
Yes, so it's a crazy story. Everyone should watch these stories. Anyway, why is this working? That's the question. Why is my approach working? Why is the intracellular parasite theory working? Well, when you find out that the prevailing, what you call corpus of thought, or the orthodoxy of the day is not getting desired results, there must be a new orthodoxy. There must be a new corpus of thought.
Right.
Because if the numbers of cancer is going up, according to World Health Organization, by 2050, that means that they have the wrong theory of cancer. This is based on first principles thinking. So now you've got to look for alternatives. And now you find out there's a doctor out of Boston College. Simultaneously, I'm doing this and I'm seeing that the olive leaf extract is working, but I don't quite understand the mechanism of action of why it's working. But I know it's working. But for me to explain why it's working, I don't understand it. Yeah, I didn't understand it, but I'm getting these results.
Right.
Okay. So COVID comes. All right. Or let's just call it the pandemic came, right?
Right.
The
big boy.
Yeah, it came. And so here's the deal. People are calling me about, I was in Africa at the time. In 2019, I was literally doing a construction project at my aunt's house. I was building cisterns there.
What nation, if you don't mind?
Who, my aunt?
What nation were you in?
Ghana. I was in Ghana.
Okay.
So that's where I was born. So anyway, so I'm in Ghana, right? And I'm building a construction project, and I'm seeing like in January of 2020, they started talking about like there's this thing going around. And of course, you don't take it seriously because you're hearing about mad cow disease all the time, bird flu all the time.
Right. We were following it on this channel as well. We were tracking it as well.
Right. So now I start to pay more attention when they say they're starting to close the airports in China. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, this is around February. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. They're closing airports. Let me look at this thing. At the time, they didn't call it C-19.
Right.
They call it SARS-CoV-2.
I remember. Yep.
So I said, wait, SARS-CoV-2? There must be a SARS-CoV-1.
Right.
And when you start to do the research on SARS-CoV-1, it says very clearly, chloroquine stops the multiplication and duplication of SARS-CoV-1. Chloroquine comes from quinine. Chloroquine is what we use in Africa for malaria.
Right.
So I'm saying chloroquine, and then it talks about zinc. The studies was that chloroquine is what they call a zinc ionophore. So I'm looking at these studies, which I could share. I don't want to get into deep details. I mean, we can do a whole show about that, where I can go over the studies about this thing.
Right.
So the studies are basically saying this, bro. They're saying for SARS-CoV-1 that zinc shuts off the replication of the virus. Zinc.
Okay. Zinc. Right.
Okay. Because in the cell, there's a intracellular apparatus in the cell called an RNA polymerase. Now, this is because SARS-CoV-2 is an RNA virus.
Right.
Okay. So this is very important. How they replicate is that the virus will invade the cell and it will hijack a thing called the RNA polymerase, which is like the Xerox machine of the cell.
Right.
So it hijacks it and then it copies itself.
Right.
And now your immune system is supposed to hold it off. But if you've got a weakened immune system, like most people have weakened immune systems in America due to the diet, lack of sunlight, and all of that, what happens is that when zinc gets inside the cell, it will stop the replication of the virus. So now it's not proliferating. And when you get sick is when the virus replicates so much that your immune system cannot handle it. And it's what is called immune escape. That's when you start presenting with illnesses.
Right.
But your body will deplete as much zinc as possible to try to shut down the replication of the virus.
Replication.
But most of our people are deficient in zinc. Do you know what the main symptom of zinc deficiency is? When zinc has left your body? You're going to laugh when you hear this. You're going to have an aha moment.
I know for men,
well,
it might be ED.
No. The main of complete zinc deficiency. Now, that is one of the problems with zinc deficiency. But when zinc is completely depleted from the body, the first thing that happens to you is loss of taste and smell.
Wow. Okay.
Now you're getting it, right?
Right.
Remember what they told you is that if you had a flu and you had loss of taste and smell, did you most likely had
that thing?
Yeah, that thing. But they never explained why you would get loss of taste and smell. The reason why you had loss of taste and smell is because your body's trying to draw in all the zinc in your blood that exists into the cell to shut down the replication of the body. Your body's trying to keep you alive. But because people don't have the right nutrients, they didn't have enough zinc. And so all their zinc gets drawn up.
Right.
And they lose their sense of taste and smell. So people should have been told to supplement with zinc. Okay. Now, here's the thing. The problem is that zinc has two positive ionic charges. We're going to get a little biochemistry now. So because it has two positive charges, the cellular membrane also has a polarity that repels positive charges. So it's like two positive magnets
going against each other.
So it repels it. So you need what is called a zinc door opener that changes the polarity of the cytoplasm of the cell to allow zinc to rush in. That is called a zinc ionophore.
Okay.
A zinc door opener. Guess what's a zinc ionophore? Chloroquine.
Chloroquine. Okay.
Now, chloroquine is what we use in Africa for malaria, but the malaria parasite and the mosquitoes developed a resistance to chloroquine. So then we developed hydroxychloroquine, which have less side effects, which is over the counter in Africa that can be used. And so the studies were showing that hydroxychloroquine and zinc together will stop the replication of the virus.
Right.
Okay. And this is in SARS-CoV-1, which has the same mechanism of action as SARS-CoV-2. But because the president at the time, who's the president now, was disliked and he said hydroxychloroquine now started getting all this propaganda. It doesn't work. It's this. You might die from it.
They were adamant about that.
Yes, and I knew that they were lying about hydroxychloroquine because of two things. About it going to kill you. Well, because of three things. Number one, before the pandemic, before 2020, hydroxychloroquine for the last 30 years has been in the World Health Organization's list of most effective and essential drugs for humanity. Okay? That's number one. Number two, in Africa, we get hydroxychloroquine like you can get Tylenol. It's not even by prescription. It's so safe. And it's used for malaria.
Right.
Okay? So we know hydroxychloroquine. in Africa. So you're not going to tell me it's going to kill you. And then number 3, do you know what hydroxychloroquine is prescribed for people in America? People with autoimmune diseases like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. That's their main medication, hydroxychloroquine. Now, I'll put a pin in there because that's an autoimmune disease. But the question then becomes, why are they using an anti-parasitic for autoimmune disease? Are autoimmune diseases caused by parasites? We're going to get into that. And the answer is actually yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here, what has happened is the parasites are burying themselves into the tissue, and the immune system is trying to attack the parasites, but it ends up attacking the tissue because the parasites are hiding in the tissue. And then they say your immune system is attacking you, and then they tell you to take immune suppressant drugs when it's your immune system that's supposed to help you in the first place.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Right.
Anyway, so
I don't mean to cut your wisdom real quick. I'm sorry. We got to get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. This is a water break, ladies and gentlemen. Word from our sponsors, and we will be right back with our guests. All right.
What is infinite treasures? Like all things born out of the genius of necessity, infinite treasures in the spirit of the ancient earthkeeper tradition of Kephara, the scarab beetle. We gather all manner of earth relics, high energy hand-picked crystals, stones, minerals, and pure metals, and weave them into sacred geometric forms that elevate consciousness. 30 years of research and development have revealed secrets to creation. Sacred geometry is the structured form of mathematics that brings about manifestation. Laws that manifest on Earth can also transcend through space and time.
Yes. Shout out to Infinite Treasures. All right. Shout out to Infinite Treasures. So I want to continue where we left off right before we went for the commercial. You said the word parasites.
Yes.
And that is something that I definitely wanted to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. It's something that my viewers and my audience, we've been we've been talking about it on this show, but we haven't necessarily taken a deep dive into the world of parasites and the detriment that parasites are causing the human body and how to remove them. Mm-hmm. So let's continue.
Yep.
Please.
So this is all getting into that. And so I'm finding out that they're telling lies about hydroxychloroquine. And I'm wondering why. Like, why are they lying so bad about hydroxychloroquine? It even becomes laughable because lupus patients take it all the time. Rheumatoid arthritis patients take it all the time. It's not like causing them to die. Africans take it all the time. And World Health Organization says it's the safest drug. So anyway, I put that in the back of my head. I'm listening. I'm saying, okay, well, you see, once you understand the mechanisms of action, you don't necessarily need hydroxychloroquine because there are other zinc ionophores. And so I started doing research on zinc ionophores. And there's a research study that has a whole list of zinc ionophores. Guess what is a zinc ionophore? Olive leaf extract. That means that you can just take that with zinc and it'll do the same thing as hydroxychloroquine. Turmeric is a zinc ionophore.
Right.
Black seed oil is a zinc ionophore. And all
so that's the zinc opener, you're saying?
Yes, that's the opener to allow zinc to rush into the cell to shut down the Xerox machine for the viral replication. Okay.
Right.
So I found all these natural zinc. Ginger oil is a zinc ionophore. Quercetin is a zinc ionophore. All these things you can get without prescription. So when people were calling me about C19, I was telling them, take zinc and olive leaf extract. If you for some reason you don't like me and you don't want to get olive leaf extract, go get quercetin. Go get, I give people alternatives because it's important for you to have options. Like, I don't really care whether you buy from me or not. The point is for you to get better, right?
Right.
And to understand, not just get better, but to understand why you're getting better and why you got sick in the first place. So I would always explain to people the zinc ionophore RNA polymerase, because my belief is that we're all smart and intelligent. It's just that we are underinformed and misinformed about health. In that, if you can explain to someone cancer and what's really causing their cancer, you create 1,000 other healed people, because that person not only gets healed, but they understand the mechanism of action of getting healed. So now they're able to share it with other people.
So each one teach one?
Yes, I don't believe in just telling you to take X, Y, Z. I'm going to tell you why.
Right.
And if you don't want to get it from me, I'll tell you where else to get it. Just I might have said something you didn't like. Right. I'm on record for saying a lot of things people don't like. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it is what it is, but you'll get better if you understand. And you also have to understand, health is not about one thing. It's not about like one thing is the only game in town. I believe that olive leaf extract is probably the best thing because it deals with so many things. But if you can't get olive leaf extract, there are other things you can get to address your problems if you understand the mechanism of action. All right, so here's the deal.
So I'll ask this. I'm sorry to cut your wisdom. Yeah. If, let's say, hypothetically, that they legalize marijuana tomorrow, would you choose the extract of the marijuana over the olive leaf?
No, I wouldn't. And the reason is because of the high that a lot of people can't handle. You asked about CBD earlier. CBD does not get people high. It is something that's also good for cancer. But the problem is that the cannabis plant works best in what's known as the entourage effect, where it has all the different cannabinoids. So THC works better with CBD, and CBD works better with THC.
THC, right. Is it specific THC A, B, or C?
Yeah, there's all different ones. So the cannabinoids, there are about 200 different cannabinoids. The ones that we know of very well is THC, CBD, CBG, CBD, you know, those types of things, THCA. But there's many others. But the ones that have been studied the most is THC and CBD. We've been studied so much. Remember I talked about how Schedule 1 drug can't be Schedule 1 if there's any medicinal use in the United States?
Yes,
well,
sir.
It turns out the United States government has a patent on cannabinoids. I don't know if you knew this.
I mean, it makes sense, you know.
Okay, I'm gonna show you all real quick. It is patent number 6630507. U.S. patent, and I'm just gonna show you all this to show you that the U.S. government has known this for some time.
Right.
Now, the reason why cannabis works is because it deals with the immune system of the what you would call the endocannabinoid system, CB1 and CB2 receptors. There's a three-pronged approach to dealing with cancer that I have in my protocol, which I'm going to discuss for people, just so people know. But I just wanted to show people this just to see who you're dealing with. This is the United States government, y'all. Do y'all see this? Cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. Now you can't patent a plant, but you can patent the process of extracting the medicine from the plant. And that's what they did. Right. So this is the patent number 6630507. Who's the assignee? U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. 1999, the application was filed in 1999. It was granted in 2001 and assigned to the Department of Health and Human Services. So they've known since 2001 that this is 1999 that it is a medicine, but they're still jailing people for it. But let's see what they say. Let's see what they say in the abstract. This newfound property makes cannabinoids useful. So it says cannabinoids have been found to have antioxidant properties unrelated to NMDA receptor antagonism. No, you don't need to worry about this part here. This is what's important. This newfound property makes cannabinoids useful in the treatment and prophylaxis of a wide variety of oxidation-associated diseases such as ischemic, age-related, inflammatory, and autoimmune diseases. Ischemic meaning strokes, by the way.
Right.
Inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. These cannabinoids are found to have particular application as neuroprotectants, for example, in limiting neurological damage following ischemic insults such as stroke and trauma, or in the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and HIV dementia. Okay. Then they talk about the non-psychoactive cannabinoids such as cannabidiol. That's the CBD. So they already know it,
Right.
and they have a patent, but they're still arresting and jailing people for something that should not be a Schedule I drug. Okay. So anyway,
Crazy.
all right. So here's the deal. So this is the people you're dealing with, the powers that be. So I do this. I do this to show people that you're dealing with a different framework of reality where people literally have conjoined medicine with commerce, in that there is no health involved.
Right. It's a racket.
Right? It's a racket. It's racketeering, and I can prove it in so many different ways that it will make people very angry. Like there's people here on diabetes medication, and the main medication is called metformin. And
I want
do
to
this
talk to you about that.
Yeah, I do this all the time, and the first listed side effect of metformin is death.
Wait, what? Don't say
All right.
that.
No, just ask me for receipts. So the way you do it is you go to drugs.com.
This is the main diabetes medicine you're saying?
Yeah, it's called metformin.
I'm sure that there's somebody I'm not gonna generalize, but
no, there's people listening right now who's on metformin.
That's what I'm saying. There's people, if they now have, if there's people who have a family member or a loved one, or they know somebody that's diagnosed with diabetes. So
watch this. I'm going to give you receipts. Drugs.com is the place where you go to find out the side effects for every medication that you're taking.
Okay.
Drugs.com. You go there, you go into the search, and you put in the name of the medication, put in the word side effects, and then you will see what is referred to as severe, long-term, and common side effects. So here's metformin side effects. Can you see this, bro?
I see it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Metformin side. I'm going to let you do this. Do the reading. Okay. Do you see where it says in the gray box, important warnings? You see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you read
what it says? This medicine can cause some serious health issues. You don't say. Oral route, which is the tablet, right?
Uh-huh.
The first side effect is death.
Yep.
Hypothermia.
Hypotension. Yep. Okay, but listen, when I give this lecture and I show people say, why are they listing anything after death?
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, there is death, but then there's also a cough.
Yes. The first listed side effect is death, but nobody's doctor has told them this. And then there's more side effects. I mean, you just keep going down. It goes all the way down. So many more. But the point that I'm making is that this is actually a violation of the Geneva Convention human rights law, because there's a body of law passed after World War II called the Nuremberg Code. The Nuremberg Code is a body of law that was passed after Dr. Josef Mengele's work. The Nazi who was doing experiments on twins, using one twin as a placebo or as a control group. Because they have, identical, just like you and your brother, right? Y'all have, you all are identical twins. So you have identical DNA. And so what happens is that we can use one as the control and one as the test.
Right.
And then we're able to see how poisonous this particular drug is.
Test A and B.
Exactly. Right. So coming out of that was a body of law that became Nuremberg Code, which then morphed into the Geneva Human Rights Convention. That is human rights treaty law that says that no person or patient can be subjected to any medical intervention without informed consent of the possible side effects.
Right. So you have to
listen. And the possible harms. So that means that anyone who's taking medication, your doctor never told you that metformin's first listed side effect is death from lactic acidosis. You actually have been violated in terms of human rights. Anybody taking high blood pressure medication, particularly anything that ends with a pril, which is an ACE inhibitor, and you've not been told that it's going to give you acute renal failure, and you're going to end up on dialysis, eventually you've been violated. because that's what happens. People who are on dialysis, they're there because of their high blood pressure medication. They've just never been told it. So what I'm saying is I can get into all this, but let's get back into cancer, right? But anyway, so hydroxychloroquine, I'm seeing all of this, and I'm saying, okay, they're lying about it. And then some doctors start using ivermectin. And when they start using ivermectin, now you start hearing all this about ivermectin. It's a horse dewormer, and this and that. And people didn't bother to do the research. Ivermectin won the 2015 Nobel Prize in Human Medicine for eradicating river blindness through a parasitic infection in human beings in the west coast of Africa. And so in the United States, they're ridiculing it, and they're telling you, oh, you're stupid for taking ivermectin for C19 because it's for animals. It is used in animals, but so is penicillin. Penicillin is used in animals too, but they don't call penicillin a cow medicine.
Right.
And people didn't do the research on ivermectin to find out that it's been used for human beings and won the Nobel Prize for medicine. And I said, wait, why are they lying about ivermectin like that? And then Malcolm X's voice came into me. And I heard Malcolm X, his famous saying, whoever the powers of that be tell you to run from is who you need to run to.
That's a fact.
And then I started researching ivermectin, which is an anti-parasitic, along with hydroxychloroquine. And guess what I find out? Not only does it have 20 mechanisms of action in documented research papers against C19, there's papers that it kills cancer. And I said, wait, that kills cancer? The olive leaf extract kills cancer. And let me back up. The very first person, this is an important part because you asked about parasites. I'm meandering to get back to the road. Right? All right. Check this out. The very first person who took the olive leaf extract that I made after me taking it, I had given a lecture, and there was a young lady who came to the lecture who'd been ill for 20 years. And the medical establishment had not pinpointed what the illness was. They never identified what it was. So some mystery illness. It caused her to be bedridden, always with a flu, completely lack of energy, no diet, emaciated and all that, okay?
Right.
So she came to the lecture and she said, I heard about this olive leaf extract and it does all of these good things. Do you think it can help me? And I said, it's worth a try. So she got a bottle. I'll never forget her as a sister in the Virgin Islands. I actually know her brother Wade. She took the olive leaf extract home. The next day she calls me and says, Heru, I was on the toilet. When I was on the toilet, a big clump mass came out of my vagina and dropped into the toilet of blood, a big clump. And I said to her, did you have fibroids? And she goes, yes, I had one big, large fibroid that I've had for years. And I said, you don't anymore. That was the fibroid that dropped out. So from day one of taking the olive leaf, what happened was that the fibroid detached itself and fell out. Okay. All right. But that's not even the big story. On day 2, she calls me. She says, Heru, I'm on the toilet again. I said, damn, this is becoming a habit. Every time you're on the toilet, you calling me?
Right.
She goes, this time, a long white string came out of my backside.
Okay.
What is it?
Parasite.
It was an intestinal worm that had been in her body for over 20 years. That had been letting out toxins, causing her to be ill.
So the parasite defecating?
It inside of you and all of that is causing you to get sick. And it had not been identified by the medical system because the medical system of the Western medical system, European-based medical system, treats parasites as a third world disease.
Right.
They don't study parasitology. Doctors in America, Europe, they don't study parasitology, so they don't know anything about parasites. They don't have any conversation about that in medical school. They just don't know about it. So they don't on purpose? Yes, I believe it's on purpose because I'm going to show you why it's on purpose through studies. Now, anyway, After that, she was fine. So that was the first one. So I knew that the olive leaf extract gets rid of parasites and worms through her. And so I'm in a very unique position because I have my customers who've become my friend.
Right.
And they report to me what works and what doesn't and what's happening and everything. So I know I get a real-time library source of real people giving me information for the last decade.
Your data.
Right? Yes, and data.
A true life database.
Yes, exactly. So fast forward now to the pandemic. I'm seeing these anti-parasitics are getting rid of this C19 and they're maligning ivermectin. Ivermectin got studies that is getting rid of cancer as well, and 20 mechanisms of action against C19. And it's very clear to me that they're lying about it so that everyone can line up to take the jab.
Right.
That became very clear because the only reason why you could take the jab is through emergency use authorization. The only way you can get, what it means is it fast tracks a medicine. And it usually takes 10 years for a vaccine to be approved. So they fast track it through emergency use authorization, but you can only do it through emergency use authorization if nothing else works. So they had to make sure in the minds that nothing else worked. And it even turned out that vitamin D was important. That there are studies that if people had vitamin D level of just 50 or higher, the rate of people dying from C19 would have been 0.
Wow.
Okay, listen. Someone should want receipts on that, and I'm just going to show you all real quick the receipt. It's on my website. I'm going to show you all this about vitamin D because I don't want to just say things and people just believe me. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to look into what I'm saying and just to use the access to the internet, which has access to all the libraries of the world. So you see where I have science, vitamin D science, bro?
Yes.
You click that, and you're going to see this study right here.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Do you see it? National Library of Medicine, do you see it?
Yes, sir. We got it.
Here's what it says. C19 mortality risk correlates inversely with vitamin D3 status, and a mortality rate close to 0 could theoretically be reached. It could be achieved at 50 nanograms per milliliter. What this is saying is that if people would have just gotten their vitamin D levels to 50, we could have had a mortality rate close to 0. And most Black folks that I come across, their vitamin D level is under 20. And if your vitamin D level is under 20, you are basically walking around with AIDS.
Right.
What I mean by that is not sexually transmitted acquired immune deficiency. You've got immune deficiency that you've gotten through low vitamin D because vitamin D is the main nutrient for the immune system. And if your level is below 20, you are basically walking around with a collapsed immune system and you will be subject to opportunistic infections and die. And as a matter of fact, if you had an educational system that meant anything and that wasn't trash, they would give you the right words. So for instance, they call the winter months flu season. It's not flu season, it's low vitamin D season. That's why you catch the flu. Because your vitamin D is completely gone because it's cold, so you're not outside and you get less hours of sunlight during the winter months. So people getting low vitamin D through the sun and you're already depleted because people aren't going out during the summer. It's too hot for them. They want to wear sunscreen, blah, blah, blah. Their vitamin D levels are very, and especially Black folks, we got to be out because of our melanin. We have to be out in the sun longer to process vitamin D. So what happens is that most Black folks in America are walking around with completely depleted immune systems. And even according to the Center for Disease Control, the increased cases of mortality are the most highest in the months of December, January, and February. All-cause mortality spike the most. In other words, people die the most during the winter months.
Right.
Because
we're solar beings.
You are subject to opportunistic infections because that is when your immune system has collapsed during those winter months. And what that study was saying was that if you just got people's vitamin D levels to 50, people would have lived because the immune system would have been able to hold off the replication of the virus and the virus would not have had immune escape. Okay, so this also has to do with cancer. So we're gonna get back. That's why at Herbal Results, we created our own vitamin D because I saw that was a huge problem for our people. So we have our own vitamin D. It's sold out. It's so popular, it's sold out. But
real quick, I wanted to just give a little asterisk to what you're building on. This was from today. So his conscience is probably tearing him apart or whatever the propaganda is behind this, but he's literally saying in a tweet that he got ripped apart over the fast tracking what he did with that executive order to fast track this killer, you know what I mean? This quote unquote whatever this whatever happened. So I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as many say it was. If not, we all want to know about it and why, right? So he put it out there, right? This is the president of the United States throwing it out there because every question has to be answered, right? So he's opening it up to whereas somebody could come through with a real detailed report and basically destroy everything that took place off of a question that the president asks, right? So it's like he opened up a can of whoop ass. This wasn't, what I mean? He wanted to know if it worked or not and hear the results. It did not work. It was a catastrophe.
Oh
And
yeah. And a lot of us were given lectures during the time about these vaccines and how really terrible they are. And they have, there's the work of Dr. Kevin McKernan, who did the genome project, and he found when he took the genome analysis of these vaccines, he found that these vaccines were contaminated with SV40. SV40 is simian virus 40, which causes tumor growth and cancer.
right.
Okay.
Real quick, a list of foods heavy in vitamin D, please.
Okay, so really the food that would be heaviest in vitamin D is called lichen. It's a seaweed. But your source for vitamin D is the sun.
Is the sun. Okay.
Yeah, you need to sit out in the sun, exposing your chest, your arms, and your legs for about 45 minutes a day to get, adequate amount of vitamin D per day. In the medical system,
hours specifically?
Anytime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Those are the strongest hours of sunlight. So, and the number you should get to is 150, by the way. They're going to tell you that 100 is the cutoff, but that's a whole different conversation. 150 in your blood
test?
Yes.
Or through
yes.
saliva.
You can get a blood test. You can get a blood test. It costs $40 through LabCorp. You can just local LabCorp get a blood test. You want to get to 150. Your doctors will get mad at you and tell you it's too high because they've been taught to cut you off at 100. And the reason why they cut you off at 100 is because there's research that shows that when you get to 150, diseases start reversing, such as autoimmune diseases and cancer and what have you. And I have those studies.
Is there
you won't need the pharmaceutical industry if you get your vitamin D level to 150, basically.
To 150.
Yeah. 150
Sister Aaliyah Hills said that mushrooms are high in vitamin D. I would access that lion's mane and
she tried talking about lion's mane. I'd like to look at it and to see what the levels are and how much you would need to take to get to 150, because to me it's a race to 150. So whatever you can do to get to 150 blood level, that's what you should do. Everyone should be at 150. And I have the research. That shows it. And let me just tell you what the doctors are.
Anything topical? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you could use vitamin.
Put coconut oil on.
Yeah. You can actually get vitamin D and rub it on topically.
Okay.
The oil. So like we have a vitamin D here. I show everyone what it looks like at Herbal Results. Like I said, we had to create one because people were so deficient, and we created it during the pandemic. And so this is it here. It's a vegan vitamin D. It's extracted from lichen. Most vitamin D is extracted from lanolin, which is lamb's wool. But because we have a lot of vegans and vegetarians around, we want to make sure it's something that they could take too. And so this is it here for people to look at.
You said lamb's wool?
Yeah, lanolin.
As what? To wear?
No, they extract the oil from the lamb's wool.
They extract the oil from it. Okay.
Yeah, it has vitamin D in it. That's
because
the main source of vitamin D that you'll have in the
wool, right? So wool, cashmere, and linen are considered the super fabrics, which actually help with people's magnetic fields, their auric
Okay.
fields, and whatnot.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I would think that would be an additive, as if y'all want to get your
Mhm.
vitamin D up and keep it that way, you actually have to dress as well to promote that, because like
Mhm. Whatever you can do to get your blood level to 150, that's what you should do. And it should always be taken with vitamin K2. So let me explain to you why, real quick, why it needs to be taken with K2 is because when you increase your levels of vitamin D, the byproduct is calcium in the blood. So actually, the best way to get calcium in the blood is not taking calcium pills. Calcium pills actually don't absorb; they go straight through your urine. So calcium pills are a waste of time. If you
okay,
want to build up calcium in your body, you take vitamin D3 or you increase vitamin D3 from the sunlight. And what happens is you'll get excess calcium in the blood. Now, sometimes that calcium in the blood, that calcium needs to find somewhere to go. It should go to your bones. Sometimes, if you get excess calcium, a lot of excess calcium, that calcium can be deposited into your kidneys and where you get kidney stones. And that is called hypercalcemia, too much calcium. But when you take K2, what K2 does is K2 transports the excess calcium in your blood directly to your bones. So therefore, there is no risk of hypercalcemia when you add vitamin K2 to D3. So your doctors have been taught that when it's above 100, your blood level of D3 is above 100, you are at a risk for hypercalcemia, but they were never taught to just add K2 to D3 and you don't have that problem.
So that asks for better bone density, and it goes
Yes.
directly to the bone.
Yes.
And what causes bone brittle?
Low vitamin D. Actually, the disease is called rickets.
Right.
When we were young, we would walk around and you see girls with bow legs and you think that's sexy. Then when you get to learn, you get older, you realize that she had rickets. She
Right.
actually had low vitamin D as a child. And so her bones were bending and not developing correctly. She had rickets.
So
Or
that's
he
why
had
you see a
rickets.
lot of bow leg in the hood,
Yeah, bow leg is caused by
particularly.
rickets.
Okay.
So you
Interesting.
see, so the thing is this, man. So vitamin D is a big topic for the immune system. But anyway, here's the deal. When I found out about ivermectin and they were telling me to run away from it, I ran to it because of what Malcolm said. I started doing a deep dive and started finding out that ivermectin had many studies that it killed cancer, not only COVID, but cancer. And then I said, wait, let me look at hydroxychloroquine. And there were studies that killed cancer too. Then I said, wait, these are all anti-parasitics. Olive leaf is an anti-parasitic and it kills cancer because remember the worm with the sister?
Right.
That's when I had my light bulb moment.
Right. Yeah.
So
Aha.
then I started looking at every single anti-parasitic, pharmaceutical and natural. So pharmaceutical would be ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, mebendazole, albendazole. All of them had studies that they kill cancer on the U.S. National Institute of Health website. All of them.
Right.
And then I looked at the natural anti-parasitics, olive leaf extract, black seed oil, Nigella sativa, neem, Artemisia nua, which is sweet wormwood, baking soda, ginger oil, garlic, turmeric.
Clove.
All of these things, clove, yes, all of these things are anti-parasitic. Every single one of them had studies that they kill cancer. That was my light bulb moment. I said, oh, wait, cancer is related to parasites or it must be a parasite.
Right.
And then this is what sealed it all. I see a video that chronicles the work of a German doctor called Dr. Alphonse Weber. Dr. Alphonse Weber takes the blood of every single cancer patient he can get his hands on.
Right.
Alive and dead.
Right.
Takes their blood and puts it under a microscope. And in the microscope, he can see moving parasites in the blood of every single cancer patient, even the dead ones.
Right.
The parasites were still moving in the blood of dead people who died of cancer.
Damn.
That's when it was like an aha moment I said, cancer is a parasite.
Mm.
It's a parasite. It's an intracellular microbial parasite that keeps multiplying. And a lot of times, these things that they're calling tumors are actually parasitic egg sacs.
Parasitic egg sacs.
Now, here's the deal.
Wow.
They've known about this. So in my book, I'm just going to show you a little bit of the book. We're going to go over some things. So in the book, this is what I chronicle in the book. I'm going to show you all this. And then this is why the conversation's so long, but it was necessary to have this long conversation to give you all.
Believe me, brother, there's no such thing as time right now. Time is frozen. We in the zone right now.
All right. So I want your listeners to look at this. So this is my book, and I'm going to show you all in the book how I give you all how I lay out the information. All right. Let's check this out. So you see the title of the book, correct?
Yes, a successful eradication of cancer using an intracellular parasite theory.
Okay.
When is it going to become a fact? No disrespect to theory.
Well,
but I just want to know scientifically, what does it take for it from theory to theorem?
Well, the theory is that, you're still testing it out. You do clinical trials. You do all these things. I don't like when you talk about health, scientific fact, we're always learning and we're always growing and I don't mind using the word theory if you can back it up with results. It's a theory and you're testing it out. And because we can't control the educational institutions right now, because we're not living in a country where we have the control, it will remain a theory until we have the educational institutions, the scientific journals that we control, and then we can declare it as fact.
Right.
So here's the deal. And here's how I segregate the book. Scientific evidence, chapter 1. Video testimonials, chapter 2. Protocol, chapter 3. So the rest of the book after the introduction are not words by me. Everything else is scientific studies. So when we look at this, we have a study. I'm going to point you all to the study.
Parasitic origin of cancer.
And we are going to share. Are you able to see this study?
Yes, sir.
The New England Journal of Medicine?
Theory. Huh?
Do you see the New England Journal of Medicine? Or are you looking at my book?
Yeah, the NEJM.
Do you see New England Journal of Medicine?
I see it in the hyperlink.
Okay, no. Okay,
I see that. I see the abbreviation.
Okay, let me. Now I'm going to share. I'm going to share what you need to see now. You need to see. You need to see the study itself. So I give you a link to the study, and probably I could just do an entire screen next time. So everywhere I switch, you could just see it.
Yes, sir.
See this?
Yes, I do.
New England Journal of Medicine.
Yes, sir.
The parasitic origin of cancer. Look at the date. 1891.
1891. Yes, sir.
They've known about this since 1891, bro.
Damn.
Okay? And this is this is Dr. J. Collins Warren, and he talks about it. But you might say, oh, that's just one study from back then. I have more studies.
Right.
There's another one from 1892. U.S. National Institute of Health. Are you able to see this where it says National Library of Medicine?
Yes, sir.
Then a note on the parasitic protozoa lately found in cancer. H.G. Plimmer. Yeah.
Look at that.
1892.
God damn.
They've known about this. It's been suppressed. All right. Let me share another one. And then you get to see who these people are. Like, these are not just like small people in the medical world at the time.
Right.
Okay.
These were leading voices.
Absolutely. I'm about to show you who they are. Are you able to see this one here, the parasitic theory of cancer?
Yes, sir.
This is from 1903. Let's look to see who wrote it. H.G. Plimmer again. In charge of the cancer laboratories, Lister Institute of Preventative Medicine and Cancer Hospital in Brompton, England.
Come on now.
Okay?
Come
it's
on
entitled, but then you might say, oh, Heru, that's from 1900s.
Right.
It's been debunked. Like, you don't have any recent studies of this. All right. Here's the problem. I have studies from 2020. I'm going to just read this one. Okay. And we're going to just look this. And then, I'll stop with all of the studies, but this is important for people to see. This is from 2019. Okay. So we're taking it from 1890.
Fast forward to 2019.
Yes.
That's right.
And let's share that screen. I want you all to see what they're saying here. Look at this study. You see it?
Yep.
National Institute of Health again, National Library of Medicine, anti-parasitic and antifungal medications for targeting cancer cells, literature review and case studies. Frederick T. Guilford and Simon Yu. Okay? This is from 2019. See? July 2019. Okay. Let's see what they say. When you get to the conclusion, I want you all to check this out. Due to the complexity of the behavior and biology of cells, scientists' primary focus should be on detection and elimination of sources of inflammation. See, inflammation is the cause of most of these diseases. I didn't get to cover that, but it is. So, we'll get into that. I didn't get a chance to, but that's the cause of your high blood pressure, your diabetes, the cancer, creates an inflammatory environment. That's where cancer thrives. But listen what they say. Anti-parasitic medications and also antiviral, antibiotic, and antifungal medication should be thought of as under-recognized, underappreciated, and forgotten medications that can be part of cancer therapy. The information offered in this review suggests scientists should not only think of cancer, not only as a metabolic disease, but also as a metabolic parasite.
Damn.
And should consider using anti-parasitic medications under a new understanding of the role of inflammation, infection, and mitochondrial dysfunction in the development of cancer cells. Listen, I've got study after study after study after study after study that verifies this. This is why we're getting results. This is why we're getting results at Herbal Results. Because what we do is this.
Yes.
Here's the protocol. Let me break it down because I mean, there's so much I can get into because what I did was I give you studies, I get you the anti-parasitics, and I show you all the cancer studies on every different anti-parasitic you can think of. Just give them to you. All of them, like olive leaf extract. I'll give you 10 studies with the links.
Right.
Garlic, 10 studies with the link. Artemisia annua, 10 studies with the link. So it's all there. Fenbendazole. Ivermectin, all of that, I give you the studies. But what I do is that I also give you the dietary approach. So there's a guy named, remember they said not only is it a metabolic disease, there is a doctor called Dr. Thomas Seyfried.
Right.
Dr. Thomas Seyfried is a doctor out of Boston College. He's doing great work around cancer. He buns a fire on the medical establishment because he says they have the wrong theory of cancer, just like I do. He says that cancer is a metabolic disease.
Right.
In other words, and he's identified, and he's correct. But I go a step further, and I say it's a metabolic parasite. He hasn't gotten there yet, but he has recognized that you can use anti-parasitics to do the job. So he's almost there. But here's the deal: he's identified cancer's two main fuel sources. Its absolute main fuel source of cancer is glucose, sugar. That's the main fuel source. The secondary fuel source of cancer is glutamine. The majority of cancers will die if you just block off glucose.
Wow.
So therefore, anybody who's diagnosed with cancer, the first thing that has to happen is they have to get off of sugar and foods that form into sugar, because parasites and cancer feed off of the same thing, glucose. And the reason why we know this is because there is a test for cancer called a PET scan. You ever heard of a PET scan, Phil?
Yes, sir.
Positron emission tomography. It is more specific and more advanced than an MRI, because of one reason only, is because they inject you with a dye called FDG. It is called fluorodeoxyglucose that they inject you. It is fluorescent radioactive glucose that they inject you with. Why do they inject you with fluorescent radioactive glucose? Because they know that cancer tumors, cancer cells, and parasites feed off of glucose 20 times faster than regular cells. So whenever there's glucose in the body, the cancer and the parasites will grab it first.
Right.
And because it's fluorescent,
right,
it lights up.
It lights
and then they
up
scan you, and they say, there's where your cancer is, there's where your cancer is.
Right.
It's called a PET scan. Now, if the medical establishment knows why a PET scan works because of the relationship between sugar, glucose, and cancer, why is it that they're not telling every single cancer patient to adopt a sugar-free diet?
Right.
But when you go into a cancer ward for breakfast, they're feeding you pancakes and syrup,
all kinds of crap. Right. Jello, pudding,
pie, cake, donuts, soda drinks, and then they send you home with a box full of a drink called Ensure, which is nothing but liquid sugar and vegetable oil. This is why people are not reversing their cancer. And everyone's talking about safe
also,
sugars and this and that. Listen, people talking about safe.
Add on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Add on to that as well. They're not in linen anymore. They call sheets linen, ironically, but it's all polyester, plastic based. You get bed rot from laying on these quote unquote plastic mattresses and whatnot, or these petroleum mattresses. So, not only is the food detrimental, but everything that you're sleeping in and everything that you're wearing is also going to lower your frequency and make you susceptible to these parasites and these sicknesses and whatnot. That's crazy.
Right. So what we have.
I don't mean to cut you. What is a safe form of glucose or sugar that we could eat as people?
Listen, all right. This is what I want people to know. People talking about processed sugar and safe sugar. Newsflash to people. The body doesn't care where it gets glucose from. Parasites don't care where it gets glucose from. Right. You can get glucose from fruit. And this is very important. Anybody who's diabetic knows you can't eat any fruit that you want, as much fruit as you want, because your body cannot take that blood sugar. And if anyone wants to test what I'm saying, you don't have to believe anything I'm saying. You can get a glucose monitor and go ahead and eat an apple and see how it spikes your blood sugar, or drink apple juice, or any one of these juices that you all think are healthy juices. The problem is that when you have insulin resistance, just with what they're calling diabetes, your insulin can no longer do its job, which is basically as a transport, just like vitamin K2 is a transport of calcium to the bones, from the blood to the bones. Insulin is a transporter of glucose from the blood into the cells for energy.
Right.
Okay. When your insulin truck breaks down, which is your U-Haul truck, it breaks down because of excessive overuse over time. You develop what is known as type 2 diabetes, or adult onset diabetes, which is really just insulin resistance. Your body can't, your insulin can no longer move the glucose from the blood into the cell for energy, so that sugar gets left over. And then when they test your blood sugar, it's high blood sugar. So we reverse diabetes easily by just telling people to adopt a ketogenic diet where you're not taking glucose, because your body, the human body, is a hybrid vehicle. It can run on glucose and ketones. Ketones is healthy fats, but it will use glucose first. And when it runs out of glucose, it transfers over to ketones. Your body can run off of ketones. So you want to adopt a ketogenic diet, get your body into ketosis, and you no longer need to have the insulin anymore to move the glucose from the blood into your cells. And that glucose left over in the blood is causing a corrosive effect because the glucose, see what sugar does to your teeth? It burns a hole into your teeth, right? We call it cavities. Then imagine what glucose, sugar is doing to your soft internal organs if it can do that to your teeth. Corrosive effect causing inflammation, inflame, fire, which is burning a hole. Well, people with high blood pressure, you've got inflammation of your arterial walls because you've got glucose left in your, this is why Dr. John Yudkin was saying that sugar is the cause of heart disease, because you've got sugar left over in your blood and it is causing corrosive effect of your arteries. Your arteries start to swell, the hole gets smaller, and now your heart has to pump blood at a higher pressure to get blood from oxygenated blood from one side of the constriction to the next, and you've got high blood pressure. So high blood pressure is just a byproduct of having swelling of your arterial walls and your body trying to keep you alive. That's why you got high blood pressure. Okay, so here's the deal. The deal is this, is that yes, fruit is better than the processed sugar, but it still has glucose because it has sugar in the form of sucrose, which is fructose and glucose.
Right.
Okay, and you will spike your blood sugar if you eat fruit, if you eat watermelon, whatever. The difference is that the fruit has fiber, so it's not such a rush of glucose into your body as a drink that doesn't go through the digestive process, just goes through absorption, and you will raise your blood sugar that way. You don't have to believe anything that I'm saying. People who think that eating fruit has no effect on your blood sugar because it's natural or honey or anything, all you got to do is this. Don't believe anything I'm saying. Don't even argue with me. Get a glucose monitor, take your blood glucose without eating that food that you think is okay, and then go eat that honey, go eat that nectar, go eat that whatever, go eat that fruit, and then an hour and a half later, go test your blood sugar and see where it's at. If it doesn't give you a spike, I'm wrong. If it gives you a spike, I'm right. And if it gives you a spike, that means that if you have parasites, it will feed the parasites. But here's the deal. There is a way this can actually work in your benefit. There are people who've reversed their cancer with molasses and baking soda. And I have it in my book. But let me tell you why. Okay. I don't know if you've ever done any gardening or if you've ever had like roaches or ants that you have to get rid of. Well, the best way to get rid of them is to make a mix of 2 parts sugar, 1 part baking soda or borax.
Borax, right.
Yeah, or baking soda. You mix it together, and the pests, the ants, any parasites in your garden, they'll be attracted to the sugar.
Right.
They'll eat it, but it's married with baking soda, and it kills them. Right. So guess what people are doing? They're taking molasses, which is sweet from sugar, and they're mixing it with baking soda, and they're making a drink, and they're drinking it. So the parasites are drawn to the glucose in the molasses, but it's mixed with the baking soda and it kills them. And that's how people are killing their cancer. So I tell people anytime that you want to, if you have cancer and you want to eat fruit, because there's people like, I want to eat fruit. What you want to do is you want to mix it with an anti-parasitic. So if you got to eat fruit and you've got cancer, what I want you to do is you'll take it with the olive leaf extracts there in your stomach at the same time, and they mix together so it can draw in the parasite and kill it. So that's one of the ways, because there's some people who's like, I can't go without eating fruit. I'm like, fine. The body doesn't care where it gets glucose from. Understand that the fruit has some good vitamins and minerals and all of that. So it's not just pure sugar. It has some good things about it, but it still has glucose. And all cancer feeds off of glucose and secondarily glutamine. So what you do is you starve that cancer. So our protocol is you can do a fast. I have people do a 72-hour water fast to reset your whole digestive system and to lower your blood glucose and all of that. And then you do intermittent fasting, which is time-based eating. You pick a window to eat every day, 6 hours, no more than 8 hours. So you have 16 hours of fasting. Some people do 18-6, which is 18 hours fasting, 6 hours eating. Some people do 24, 20 hours no eating, 4 hours eating. And when you eat, it must be non-sugar-based food and non-carbohydrate-based food that converts into sugar easily, which would be your rice, your pasta, your grains. All of that stuff converts into sugar, glucose, wheat, bread, all that stuff. Discontinue it.
So the PB&J sandwiches is
that's out. That's out. That's out. So here's the thing. What happens is that when you take that dietary approach, there are people who have reversed their cancer just with the dietary approach.
Right.
By taking out carbohydrates. They've just starved the cancer that way. There's in fact people who've gotten rid of cancer by just going on a 20-day water fast. That's a lot. You're starving yourself, but you also starve the cancer. I'm not going to suggest anyone do a 20-day water fast, but there are fasting cancer clinics. And it just shows you that you deprive it of its main fuel source. Right. You outlive the cancer. The cancer just dies because it's not getting its fuel source, which is glucose. All right. So that's the first part of the protocol, herbal results. The second part of the herbal results protocol is boosting your immune system, because it's your killer T cells that are responsible for holding off precancerous and cancerous cells in the first place, and parasites in the first place.
Right.
But when your immune system is depleted from its nutrients, it can't do what it's supposed to do. And the main nutrients for the immune system is vitamin D3, magnesium, selenium, and zinc. And so we make a magnesium, selenium, and zinc product. It's in one capsule. You just take it. It has the therapeutic levels. You take 2 a day. You got enough that you need to fight off cancer and all that. It raises your immune system, and you take your D3 at the same time, 50,000 IUs a day with the K2. Not 5,000, 50,000. And I can tell you why it's 50,000, because I have a study of a woman who had pancreatic cancer, which is the most aggressive form of cancer.
Okay.
And what does the pancreas do? It regulates blood sugar.
Right.
The place that regulates blood sugar when cancer is there, parasites is there, is the most aggressive form. I wonder why. Okay, so you see how sugar plays a role in this? And so here's the deal. She had aggressive form of pancreatic cancer, which is like the deadliest form, and her doctor told her to take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. She misread it and took 50,000 IUs. When she took the 50,000 IUs, 3 months later, she came back and her pancreatic cancer was arrested. And the only thing she did was take the vitamin D at 50,000 IUs because her blood level got to 150.
Right.
I have a book.
Magic number.
Yes, I have it's a book by Dr. Harold Schell out of Germany, where he took his patients who had autoimmune diseases and glaucoma. And he got their blood level to 150 vitamin D, their glaucoma reversed, and their autoimmune diseases reverse. Anyone can look up the book. It's called Vitamin D and like glaucoma and other diseases by Dr. Harold Schell, HARALD, SHELLE. You can just look it up. The book is there. That's why I know that 150 is the magic number. So we step up the immune system. And the third thing we do is we have you take at least 4 antiparasitics. So remember, people have reversed their cancer just with the olive leaf extract. Right. Actually, several of the people on my page, that testimonial page, they only took olive leaf extract. Right. They didn't even change their diet. Some of them, they only took the olive leaf extract and their cancer went away because of how good it works. But because cancer is so serious, I like to throw the kitchen sink at it. So you can choose, the olive leaf extract is the foundation. You can choose to take black seed oil with it, turmeric with it, Artemisia annua with it, baking soda with it, garlic with it, neem with it, apricot seeds with it, soursop leaves as a tea with it. You can take ivermectin, bendazole, all of that. You can take it. It's your choice. I just tell people choose 4. Right. And stick with it. And then what we do is, because we don't go by like how you feel or anything, we go by numbers. So you get the size of your tumors. You get your size of your tumors. You tell me the size of your tumors. You do this for 30 to 45 days and go get another scan. We see if it's shrunk. If it's shrunk, you keep on doing what you're doing. Usually between 30 days and 3 months, we see either 50% shrinkage to complete disappearance.
Right.
Most of our cancer reversals are within 3 months, 3 to 4 months.
Amazing.
And that's what you'll see. I mean, every one of these people, we have over a dozen, and I have more coming. We just have a brother who came to my lecture in Brooklyn, at Nicholas Brooklyn, a couple months ago. He came to me with a lecture. Yeah, shout out Monique.
Shout out California.
Yeah, shout
out to the whole team over there. You know, yeah.
So a brother came to me to my lecture there some months ago, stage 4 rectal cancer.
Yikes.
Well, by the time I came back for the next lecture in 2 months, guess what? Cancer gone. And he came and gave a testimonial, live testimonial at the lecture.
Yeah.
So everyone was there. They saw it. So what I'm saying is that my job now is to make the products that's necessary for the people, and then to document these cases and keep our own library. See, because if our ancestors didn't keep records like they kept at the pyramids, there would be no proof of our greatness.
That's right.
We did. And they made the pyramids indelible. They made it so that it's not erasable. You can't get rid of those. They built so big that you can't get rid of it. And the paint was permanent paint. These were a serious group of people. And so we would have to be a serious group of people to be able to match our ancestors in their greatness when they were unmolested. Because we as a people have been molested. So we don't even know our true greatness because we've been molested so long. But when our people are unmolested, it's clear what we can do. And the evidence is there. And so what I'm doing is that I'm creating a library that exists of results and the evidence of us solving our own problems.
That's right.
Because what happens is that we are the first generation, because of online and because of video. Do you realize that 400 years from now, your great grandchildren can push a button and see how grandpa Phil sounded like, how he sounded like, what he talked about, what he laughed about, how his laugh sounded.
Right.
1,000 years from now, they can come back and look at this conversation and say, this is what they were up to in 2025. And we're in 3025 now.
Right.
And this is what they were doing to solve cancer. This is what they were doing to solve this. We have to keep a record of our deeds. And this is the point. And this is why you have a show like this, to have people like me on and other people, is to keep documented evidence of our ideas, thoughts, and actions towards solving our problems, because human beings exist to solve problems. If we're not solving problems, we're wasting our lives. And if our community, particularly as men, if we have a set of problems around health and safety and security and this and that, we have to solve those problems. If we have economic problems, we have to solve those problems. It's important for those of us who care enough to look into all of these fields, whether that's why I'm talking about Bitcoin. That's what I'm talking about. Economic problems, we have to solve that. Health problems, we have to solve that. Security problems, we have to solve that. Industrial problems with manufacturing, we have to solve that. No one else is going to solve it. We're charged with doing it, and so we have to get busy doing it. But as long as we are doing it, it's important to document.
Facts.
And so this is what this is all about. So anyone go on herbalresults.net. Every week you're going to see new testimonials. Every other week you're going to see new because my job now is to document. So when people say, "Oh, I don't believe what he's saying," or this and that, I have the documentation.
That's fact.
The real people, because I ask people, what's your name? What's your occupation? How old are you? Where do you live? Da, da, da. You can look up these people on Facebook and contact them and talk to them if you don't believe what I'm saying.
Right.
But what we're going to do is we're going to keep compiling the evidence till this becomes commonplace. I don't care about whether the medical system believes it or not, because till this day, all these doctors who've been shocked, none of them have asked their patients, what have you done? And can I talk to the person who told you to do this so I could learn more? None of the oncologists have showed intellectual curiosity when they see a miraculous, they say, I can't believe it, your cancer is gone. I've never seen this before in my 30 years.
Right.
None of them has said, what did you do? How did you do it? How can I learn? Who's the guy who who gave you this. Actually, there's been one doctor who asked for the book and looked at the book.
You know the arrogance.
Yeah.
You know how that goes, you know?
Meanwhile, I got doctors calling me to solve their problems because they're sick themselves. They've got high blood pressure, they got diabetes, they got cancer. They know that what they're doing isn't working.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They know what they're doing isn't working. They know it's not working. So this is the reality of the situation. I'm not saying to anybody here, I'm the only one with the only solutions. I'm not saying that. There may be more than one way to skin a cat. I can only talk about what I know and the evidence that I have and what I've seen, what I've grown to be able to do. And so I can speak authoritatively on that, and I document that. But are there other people who are doing great work around cancer who might be using a different approach? Definitely. But here's what I'm going to say to your audience. Do not follow people based on their titles, their degrees,
right,
or any propaganda around them being great or being an expert or being a healer. Expertise must be judged on one thing and one thing only: the quality and the consistency of results.
Right.
That is what expertise must be judged on.
It has to lead. That has to be the lead.
It has to be based on the quality and consistency of results. And if a person can't show you testimonials and give you references to real people who they've healed, then they're in it for something else. Because guess what? Someone who's been healed is happy to tell you their story.
All day. They're not shy about it. They're gonna speak it. They're gonna tell it on the mountaintop, and yell it. You know. Real quick, I want to pivot and let the people know what we're doing in October, so they could actually come and see you in real life, IRL. We decided that it's time to be proactive and to align ourselves with our brother Heru. And not only did we decide that, but Mama Pill also decided that she was going to make her her debut, her comeback. And she was like, yo, I want to do this standing next to my good brother Heru. So we went ahead and we put together an event, ladies and gentlemen, in the beautiful state of New Orleans. This is going to be on October the 18th at the beautiful Itel Garden. He received us earlier this year with open arms. So the brother told me that the people need some healing, and the brothers and sisters in New Orleans and Louisiana in particular, they are sick, right? So we took that information and we put together an event that is going to address that. So on October the 18th, we will be in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Itel Garden, and we'll be introducing our brother Heru, and we'll also be featuring and bringing back to the stage Mama Pill. This is her first time speaking in many years. So this one is going to be one for the record books, and we'll also be live streaming it for our global audience because it's an event that I'm sure people around the world who won't be able to make it to New Orleans are going to want to be. So yes, I'm very enthusiastic about that. We've missed each other in Brooklyn, but everybody on Fulton Street and Nicholas have been raving about you, and it's even reached Harlem and other places in New York City. So we look forward to doing something with you in the future in the town and whatnot. But for right now, we're gonna take this right to the heart of our spiritual center, and that will be in New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes. So I just wanted to share that with the family. Can we take a few questions from the audience?
Yeah, man, no problem.
Okay. So I'll be the first one. Ironically enough, I got a text today from my dad and whatnot, who he told me that my uncle Philip, the man who I got my namesake from, he is suffering from kidney disease. Uncle Phil is possibly might be in his 90s and whatnot. They saying they're giving him 6 months to a year. My dad said that when he saw him early in August that he looked great and he acted fine, but now he's suffering from bad kidney disease. Is what would be the approach that I would be able to go back to my father
Absolutely.
and tell him?
Okay.
Is there a diagnosis that you can give?
Yeah. So here's the deal: 90% of people with kidney disease, it's due to the medication that they're taking for usually high blood pressure or diabetes.
Mm,
And the side effects of these medications say very clearly acute renal failure. And so
right,
sometimes there are people taking 2 or 3 of these medications that have side effects of acute renal failure. So now you're taking 3 of them. So the first thing you're going to do is to ask your uncle what medications he's taking. I want the list of his medications. Then I will go over with you as his nephew, one by one, the medications and show you the side effects of the medication.
right.
You will see that those medications cause acute renal failure. And our job then is to solve the original problem, usually high blood pressure, which we can do without medication by changing his diet from a sugar, get rid of the sugar that's causing the inflammation in the first place, and then take the olive leaf extract and maybe a couple other things. Magnesium helps as well by relaxing the arteries. A lot of people who have high blood pressure, they have magnesium deficiency. A lot of people have high blood pressure because inflammation of the arterial walls. It will give him both magnesium and the olive leaf extract. So we deal with the original problem. When you
Right.
deal with the original problem, those medications are no longer necessary, and then the side effects no longer become a problem because of the side effects of the high blood pressure medication is kidney disease. Then our goal is to solve high blood pressure. Now, I can speak about this quite authoritatively because I had an uncle who's on dialysis
Right.
some years ago. Well, what they don't tell you is that people who's on dialysis, the great majority of them cannot urinate. I don't know if you've ever been told that, but they literally can't urinate. So their kidneys are no longer working, so that's why they need dialysis machine to filter the blood. So my uncle hadn't urinated in 5 years. Think about that.
Damn.
Physically not urinating in 5 years. So now I told him, I asked him, are you on high blood pressure? He said, yes. Medication. He said, yes. I said, we're going to solve your high blood pressure problem. Gave him the olive leaf extract. His blood pressure was normalized. He stopped taking the blood pressure medication. This is a man who hadn't urinated in 5 years. In 4 days, he started urinating. 4 days.
4.
That's how toxic this medication is.
That
it can cause these problems, but when you stop taking it and you remove the toxicity from your body can start to operate.
It can heal itself.
Yeah. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find out what medication he's on. Then we take it from there.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. So let's go into the audience and get some questions. We have a question from Shirley. What about cirrhosis of the liver? Any way to heal from that?
Well, the first thing that
condolences to her.
Yeah. So most
condolences to everybody, and I'm sorry. Condolences to everybody in the audience. They were sharing their losses as a result of not having this information, which is so important. This show is probably my most important show of the year. I've been waiting for this moment. You know what I mean? I'm actually feeling like, I'm not gonna be hard on myself, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, we could have did this many, many months ago. You know what I'm saying? When this was on my heart. So I'm just glad that we're here now.
Right. So what you're going to do is this. First of all, most cirrhosis of the liver is caused by alcohol. So if the person is drinking alcohol of any type, beer, wine coolers, whatever, they got to cut that out because that's what's causing the cirrhosis of the liver. And the way that you then detox the liver is three things. There's a thing called TUDCA, TUDCA, and you can get that on Amazon.
Okay.
Milk
Atta.
thistle,
Milk thistle.
and serrapeptase, SERRAPEPTASE. Those are the three things that you will take. They will detox the liver and help heal the liver. But what you've got to do is stop giving the liver alcohol.
Question. Okay. I remember 2014, my bro Blue, he was doing this olive oil thing where he was literally drinking the whole bottle of olive oil, and it
Yeah,
was supposed to be passing gold stones
yeah.
and stuff like that. I actually did it as well. It was like a challenge and whatnot. What are your thoughts on that? Is that
Yeah,
effective?
I've seen people do it and get great results in removing gallstones. The only thing that I would say is that like the olive oil in the United States, it's hard to get a pure,
Compromise.
it's hard to get a pure olive oil. So make sure it's imported from Italy. Like
Right.
definitely imported from Italy. If it's not, is most likely cut and stepped on product where it
Right.
is mixed with canola oil, which is toxic. All
Right.
the vegetable oils are toxic except for olive oil, coconut oil, and maybe avocado oil. But the problem with olive oil and avocado oil is that those oils are typically mixed with canola oil because canola oil is very cheap. It's a seed
Yes.
oil, very cheap, but it's toxic because it has linoleic acid and it's made with hexanes. So
Right.
anybody who has vegetable oils in your house, throw them away because those vegetable seed oils are completely toxic. They were made to be lubricants for industrial machinery, but they found out that it was so cheap to make that they ended up giving it to human beings too, but it's not fit for human consumption. And it is a source of inflammation, which will cause high blood pressure, diabetes, and all that. So I would advise people, if you're going to cook, use extra virgin or virgin unrefined coconut oil. That's the best oil that you can use to cook with.
Thank you for that.
No
Thank you
problem.
for that. What are cures for colon cancer?
So we treat colon cancer the same way as we treat other cancers. Just what the brother did, who got his reversal, who came to Nicholas Brooklyn, and basically he did my protocol, which is a diet devoid of sugar, and then he took the vitamin D3, the K2, and the magnesium, and he took the olive leaf extract. He took a couple other anti-parasitics, and then he did and you can do this. He did an enema. He did an enema with chlorine dioxide, which is called MMS, and that is also an anti-parasitic. So if you have colon cancer, I would strongly advise that you do any type of anti-parasitic enema and do it regularly so that you start getting the anti-parasitic in that area to kill the
Right.
parasites that's causing the cancer. Do that, and then let me know how you're doing in a few months. But this is exactly what the brother did.
Enema, the fact is the enema stripping away good bacteria and things of that nature?
No, not necessarily, because as long as you're not using like some pharmaceutical, that would be an
Okay.
antibiotic. So if you're
Right.
using something like if you're using something that kills bacteria like oregano oil, it won't strip away the good bacteria. It'll take care of the bad ones.
Okay.
Olive leaf extract. You could even use an ivermectin enema with ivermectin cream, or you can actually go and get ivermectin from Tractor Supply Store. You get ivermectin liquid and use that as an enema in that area, and
Right.
it could get away the cancer from that area. But the person who wants to know more, just contact me. And if you want, I could even get you the phone number to the brother in Brooklyn who got, his reversal, and he can tell you everything he did.
Right.
Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I'm very big on sharing references so that you be able to talk to the people, because, it's like you don't know who to trust, right?
That's
He could be
right.
selling a product, right? So
It's a
my
big
thing is
issue
like,
now.
yeah. So my thing is like, I will give you the phone numbers to the people who've gotten reversals. You could talk to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as it's not like 1,000 phone calls to the person, but everyone that I've helped get a cancer reversal has agreed to speak to other people because they know that they found out about me from watching the testimonials that other people gave.
Right.
If those people didn't give testimonies and weren't willing to speak out about reversing their disease, they would have never had trust in me. It would just be me speaking well. You know what I mean? And that's not enough.
It's not enough.
No.
Not in this climate. We have another question. Any recommendations for GERD, a severe acid reflux, and
Yeah.
sliding? I believe that's
Yeah, hiatal hernia of the gut. Yes. So what you could do, what you do well to do, is that the brother there on my website, I want you to watch, because he had a bad case of GERD. So what I want you to do is I'm going to show you the brother. I'm going to tell you what he did and what you need to watch, because you can ask me all these questions, but a lot of the answers are on my website. You have me here now, so you're going to ask me the questions, right? It's very efficient to do it that way. But when I'm not around, you have a resource, and that's why I put together the website. And so I'm just going to show you how to navigate to get your answer to your question. And it'll be very informative, because this brother had esophageal cancer, 90 days to live. And his brother's name is Zach Richardson, and he's here. So you go to the website, herbalresults.net, and then I want you to go to testimonials, and that's him right here. 90 days to live with end-stage esophageal cancer. And he talks about the GERD that he had. And see what he's holding in his bottle is our bottle of olive leaf extract. That got rid of his
olive oil.
That's the olive leaf extract.
The olive leaf. Okay.
Yeah. It's different than olive oil. Olive oil comes from the fruit. Olive leaf extract comes from the leaves.
From the leaf. Okay.
Yeah. So this got rid of his GERDs, and he talks about it extensively. So that will give you some insight into reversing your GERD. Just get the olive leaf extract from my website. Now, in terms of your hernia, what works very well with the hernia, and you can write this down, is you will get castor oil and DMSO. DMSO is something you can get off of Amazon. It's just D as in David, M as in Mary, S as in sulfur, O as in oxide. You mix them together and you'll rub it in the hernia area, and then it gets rid of the hernia.
Okay.
That's it. Castor oil and DMSO. Mix them together, rub them on your hernia area, and it gets rid of it.
Okay.
All right.
My question to you, and I'm sure that you addressed it a minute ago, but I have to bring it back up for anybody in the audience who is hesitant and about going to family members who are completely indoctrinated by the Western medical ideology and will run away from anything that they think is a herbal treatment or any type of quote unquote alternative medicine. Other than the testimonials and other than, kind of like assuring them that this stuff is where it's at, do you have an approach to family members for anybody that's in the audience that wants to approach a family member who may be sensitive about receiving this type of information?
Yes. The best approach, aside from the testimonials, is to show them the side effects of the medication that they are supposed to be taking.
Yikes. Okay.
And the way you do that is just go to drugs.com. Drugs.com, put in the name of the medication, put in the word side effects, and you see common, severe, long-term. You click that. You go through the list of medications, and you just tell the person, left hand is resolving your problem without these side effects, and the right hand is trying to resolve your problem with these side effects, but the doctor is telling you you have to take this medication for the rest of your life.
So we turn into Morpheus. We doing
Yeah, you give them that option. You see, the thing is that most people don't know the side effects of the medication that they're going to be taking.
That's a fact.
They have no idea. But when you start showing people the side effects, they say, I've had people cry and people get very angry when I show them the side effect. I'll give you a quick story. There's a brother who's a well-known radio host. Yeah. He called me last week with diabetes. And he's like, Heru, I need to reverse my diabetes. This medication ain't working. Can you help me? I said, yes. So we talked about it. I explained to him what diabetes is and all that. So we were cool and all of that. At the end of the conversation, he tells me, he didn't share this with me. He tells me, oh, by the way, I'm on high blood pressure medication too. I said, you're on high blood pressure medication? You didn't tell me that. So what's the name of your medication? He says, olmesartan and amlodipine. Now, this doesn't mean anything to anybody, but right away, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to drugs.com and let's look at the side effect of olmesartan. Your audience
it just sounds crazy.
Olmesartan is what they give people for high blood pressure. Now, I'm about to show you drugs.com. I'm just going to show you how I do this. This is going to be very instructive, and this is my life. Every day I'm showing people this. I spend 80% of my time showing people the side effects of the medication that they're taking. Now, check this out. Do you see olmesartan side effects? Common severe long-term drugs.com?
Yes, sir.
All I did was just search olmesartan side effects. You see my search here?
Yep.
Okay. This is how you do it. You'll see drugs.com. You'll see side effects, common severe long-term. You click it. I want people to pay attention. This is somebody who came to me with diabetes. Right. But he had high blood pressure before the diabetes. This is very important. So he's taking high. I said, how long have you been taking olmesartan? He said, for almost 20 years. In the last 5 years, I've been diagnosed with diabetes. I said, oh, that's interesting. So let's scroll down to where they say, these are all the side effects, by the way. Listed side effects, all of these. Okay. Damn. But the thing you got to do is you got to go to where it says for medical professionals, for healthcare professionals. Okay. And then you go to metabolic. Common. 1 to 10% of people who take this medication will get hyperglycemia. Do you know what hyperglycemia is? Increased blood sugar.
Right.
So the side effect for this medication, the side effect of the high blood pressure medication is increased blood sugar. What is diabetes? Increased blood sugar.
Right.
His doctors never said, wait, you've been taking this medication for 10 years. 10% of the people who take this medication end up getting increased blood sugar, hyperglycemia, which is diabetes.
Basically, right.
Your diabetes is most likely, and then guess what? One of the side effects of amlodipine is hyperglycemia too. So he's been taking two medications that both have the side effect of increased blood sugar. He gets diabetes, and now they give him another medication for diabetes, which side effect, the main one is death because he's taking metformin. When the cause of his diabetes was actually the high blood pressure medication. But his doctors got him on high blood pressure medication and diabetic medications now, not knowing or not telling him that the high blood pressure medication
is causing
diabetes.
Right.
God saw this, he screamed. He screamed. Because he'd been taking this medication for 20 years. And I said, listen, man, you don't even have a diabetic problem. You got a high blood pressure problem. And your blood pressure problem is caused by inflammation of your arterial walls, by the fact that you eat too much sugar. And we need to get you on a no sugar diet and get you on anti-inflammatory herbs, olive leaf extract being one of them. Within a week, your blood pressure should go down. You'll get off that medication and you will no longer have hyperglycemia, i.e. diabetes.
Damn. Let's go.
This was a 20-minute conversation I had with him, and he's been seeing these doctors for 2 decades, and no one ever told him this.
Man,
this is the problem. And you see what I'm saying? And this is what I get these conversations every day, and I have so many more stark conversations, like people taking certain cholesterol medications, and the side effect is cancer.
Right.
The person got cancer, and I asked them what medication you're taking. And it's something statin, a atorvastatin, or one of these statins. Right. And it clearly says the side effect was the type of cancer that this person came up with. You can't make it up.
All right. So my next question is going to be related to something that many men are suffering from.
Erectile dysfunction. The main cause of erectile dysfunction is high blood pressure medications.
Right.
You want me to prove it? Okay. Let me give you some receipts.
Okay.
One of the main we're going to do this. This happens all the time. Erectile dysfunction. Brothers come to me with erectile dysfunction. The first thing I ask them is, what blood pressure medication you on?
Also, microplastics as well. And
yes, because of and then also a lot of vegan brothers have erectile dysfunction because they eat too much tofu.
Too much soy. Soy
Too
deficiency.
much soy is a phytoestrogen. They got too much estrogen in their blood.
All right.
So lisinopril and amlodipine. You will see the side effects of both of these as being erectile dysfunction. And brothers don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I need to show it right now because it's going to take more time. But let me just tell you all that, like, you can just do exactly what I said. Just go to the side effects, and then you will see exactly how it talks about erectile dysfunction. And it talks about loss of sexual interest, loss of sexual strength, erectile dysfunction, blah, 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 blah. And it just goes on and on.
Is it because it's wiping out testosterone?
It's wiping out testosterone. It's causing swelling of the prostate, where it's blocking the blood flow. All types of things, man.
Right.
I mean, it's, these people, man, they're not like they're not giving people informed consent. Like, I can show you all of these. Like, I'm not even going to do it because it's going to take up too much more time. But anyone can just go and just put lisinopril side effects and amlodipine side. Any of these medications, just look at them and you'll see the problems. And erectile dysfunction is like one of the main problems. And when we get people's high blood pressure under control and they don't take this stuff anymore, all of a sudden now they get erection.
Right. What are some of the foods that men can eat? Those that are not even on the diabetic medicine. What are some magnesium and zinc heavy foods that men can eat to help them with their blood flow and their testosterone buildup?
Well, I mean, to me, the best thing that you could eat for testosterone,
yes,
is wild African yam.
Wild African yam.
Yeah. If you ever had like Ghana yam,
not cassava.
No, not cassava. Not cassava.
Not that, right?
It's
okay.
African yam. It is very good for testosterone. You can feel the difference almost immediately. Just believe me on this. And any of the women here, if you got a man and he's got some issues, go get some what they call Ghana yam and boil it.
Right.
And make it for him, and you will see. You'll see a difference.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are different things. There's a herb called Tongkat Ali.
Yeah, Tongkat.
Yeah, so that's very good for testosterone as well. But usually when people are having these testosterone issues, it's something that they're eating. And when you're eating something that's causing the problem, that's what you got to remove more than something you need to add. And so a lot of times, a lot of vegetarian, vegan brothers, they're eating too much soy. They're eating soy. They're drinking soy milk. They're eating tofu. And actually, the thing that's the most phytoestrogenic is flaxseed. A lot of people don't know that. Flaxseed is many times more phytoestrogenic than soy. A lot of people don't know that. Flaxseed oil is terrible for estrogen levels. It increases estrogen levels crazy.
Wow. Okay. Somebody wants to know, what could their women take to boost their sex drive?
So if a woman's sex drive is shot, a lot of times it'll happen. Here's the problem. Women have a lot of these gynecological issues that when they have these gynecological issues, they're not going to be in the mood for sex. So if a woman has endometriosis, she gets premenstrual cramps. She's got fibroids. She's got all these things going on in that area. She's not thinking about sex. So many times it's not that women have these low sex drives, it's that they've got these gynecological issues that sex is the last thing they're thinking about. And what we found out is that I would say 90% of gynecological issues that women have is from one problem, being estrogen dominant. So they've got too much estrogen in their blood and not enough progesterone. So progesterone is the balancing hormone for estrogen. And when you have too much estrogen, it causes inflammation, which ends up giving you endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is coupled also with too much testosterone, with the net testosterone converts into estrogen. So you end up getting too much estrogen in your blood. And the reason why you got too much estrogen in your blood is the food sources, which is coming from chicken mainly, and the vegan sisters from too much soy and flaxseed. And so if you're eating a lot of chicken, most of the chicken that's industrialized, raised chicken are injected with hormones, particularly estrogen, because they sell female chicken. They don't sell male chicken. They sell the female chicken. And what they do is they inject them with estrogen so they grow very quickly. So they grow very quickly. You sell them by the pound. And so a 2-3 month old chicken looks like a 2-year-old chicken in terms of weight. They slaughter it very quickly and sell it into the market, but it's pumped full of estrogen. So now you get all these estrogen chemicals in your food supply. And that's why you got these 9-year-old girls, developing and looking like they're 15, 16 very quickly. And it's from the food source. And when you're getting too much estrogen over time, it actually has a role of making you infertile. That's what birth control pills are.
Right.
They're estrogen pills. But what they do is that they inflame the body. Any woman, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if you've ever been with a woman who suddenly gets on birth control pill, all of a sudden now her breast gets bigger, her hips get more shapely.
Yeah, when I was young, they would be like, I'm taking pills to get thick.
Yeah. So what happens is that estrogen builds up inflammation, and you start getting inflamed. And so the body now starts getting thicker. And so the women look more, what you would say like thicker.
Right.
But what's happening is that their whole endocrine system is getting interrupted. And when estrogen accumulates in the body in the women, that inflammation forms tumors, fibroids, which they call a benign tumor, endometriosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, ovarian cysts, ovarian cancer, heavy menstrual cramps, menstrual bleeding, all of this, and infertility. But the beautiful thing is that there's an easy solution to this. It's actually quite simple. The reason why I know about this is because of my sister. My own blood sister had endometriosis, and I didn't know about it. She didn't tell me.
Right.
She went to the top gynecologist in Miami, and they suggested a hysterectomy, which is basically take out your whole womb.
Right.
She refused. She refused because she didn't want to be infertile.
Right.
Right. That's another way for them to take away your generations. In Africa, we say if you kill a man, you kill one person. You kill a woman, you kill a whole village.
A whole village, right?
Yeah, because the whole generations come from her womb. So the womb of a woman is very serious in Africa. It's to be taken very seriously. So they know that. And so in America, anytime a Black woman goes to a hospital, if she got a vision problem, they want to, suggest a hysterectomy.
Right.
If she stumped her toe, they want to suggest a hysterectomy. She got a headache. They say, oh, you want a hysterectomy? Like they're trying to give out hysterectomies to Black women like it's a Happy Meal. Right. So there's a reason. It's for population control. So but here's the problem. Your gynecologist doesn't know about chasteberry. Chasteberry is a plant which is also referred to as Vitex, which we make now because so many women come to me with these gynecological issues, and we give them the Vitex. And guess what happens? Because I know this because of my sister. Right. She told me the problem. I literally was driving one day when she told me this, and I pulled over at a park. It took me 5 minutes to actually research the problem. The problem was that she most likely was estrogen dominant, and it was actually a fact. She went and gotten her blood tested, and she had all estrogen, no progesterone. And the top gynecological teams in Miami never tested her blood for her hormone levels. She had endometriosis. And I don't know, see, people don't know about endometriosis. It's when the lining of the uterus and the endometrial walls gets ripped off every month. It is excruciatingly painful for women who have this. And there are women who've committed suicide because of the pain.
Because of the pain.
Every month they have to go through torture. So what they gave my sister instead of a hysterectomy, because she refused it, was Depo-Provera. Depo-Provera is a patch that sterilizes you for the time that you wear the patch.
Put little girls on that.
Yeah, and it completely made her. Like bloated and created all types of problems. So anyway, she took the Vitex, bro, which is a $25 bottle.
Right.
And within 2 months, she was able to get off the Depo-Provera, and she hasn't had a problem since.
Wow.
So we make Vitex now because just for women, because we know that this is the problem that women got.
Right.
And it solves the problem rather quickly. So we just tell them, cut out the sources of soy, the sources of estrogen, flaxseed, soy, all of that, and chicken, and take Vitex. And before you know it, those problems go away, usually within a month. And it saves them from getting a hysterectomy because doctors, they get paid up to $80,000 for a hysterectomy. So now your doctor has to choose. What? Imagine if the doctor knows. Look at what ethical financial dilemma they are because they want to support their families and all that. This person walks through the door with a gynecological issue. It can be solved with a hysterectomy, which is the standard of care, take out her womb, and that will pay you $80,000.
Right.
Or you could tell her to take a $25 bottle of Vitex and you'll get nothing. What do you think most human beings will do in that position?
They're going to go for the profit.
They're going to go for the $80,000. And this is the problem. That's the problem. This is the problem. The medical industry hates me.
I know why.
They hate me because here's the thing. My father was a doctor, so I know I grew up in a medical family. I used to go to the hospital with my dog. He was a surgeon. He was one of the leading surgeons in Chicago.
Right.
So all his friends were doctors. So I know how they think. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but please understand that they're human beings who've got debts. $250,000 in medical school debt, another $250,000 in college debt. Right. They're coming out with $500,000 in debt. They've been studying all this time, going through hell. You're going to tell them now that they can't make money?
Right.
See what I'm saying? So now they have a choice between $80,000 check when you walk through the door, giving you a $25 bottle of Vitex. That will solve the problem. Most human beings, even those people listening who think that they're good people, will not give them the $25 bottle of Vitex. They'll go ahead and keep quiet and do the $80,000 surgery and get that money. See, everyone complains about these people being evil, but they themselves would be challenged if they had to make that choice. Most people are not going to choose poverty over doing something right. Right. They will. Most people will make that because we're human beings. And if your family needs the money, you will choose your family's success over a stranger's success, particularly if the law says that this is the standard of care that you're supposed to give the person. And it protects you. Only somebody who's willing to suffer for the right thing will say no. And there are doctors who come to me, they're asking me to hire them. They say they can't do this anymore. They know what they're doing is hurting their patients. And can I give them a job? Can I open a clinic and let them work at it? I have about 5 doctors right now who want me to hire them.
I was just going to ask you that too. That's crazy.
Well, here's the problem.
Yes.
What I'm finding out is that we don't even need a clinic because we're seeing these people, all these people with cancer are reversing their cancer at home.
That's right. You don't got to go through all of that special.
You got to go through all of that.
The white room and everything.
What you need is, and what I would be interested in building is a diagnostic center.
Right.
With the top diagnostic equipment to see what's wrong with you and then tell you what to do with the comfort of your own home. And now if there's emergency medicine, yeah, you would need that. But the deal is that, urgent care and get out of there.
Right.
Stabilize you and get out of there. You don't want to be in the hospital because the number 3 leading cause of death in America is iatrogenics. Iatrogenics Iatrogenics means death by doctor.
Right,
It's the
malpractice.
third leading cause of death in America.
Yeah.
First is heart disease, second is cancer, third is death by doctor, fourth is respiratory illnesses. So the only thing that's more dangerous than being treated by a doctor is having cancer and heart disease. Everything else is safer than seeing your doctor. That's what that means.
Are you serious, bro? I mean, you just putting it into perspective, but
All right, yeah. Let me just give a receipt with that.
man,
Let me just give them a receipt with that, because a lot of people would think, no, that's not a real statistic. That can't be true. The third leading cause of death can't be death by doctor. Okay, here we go. Let me share this with you all. Johns Hopkins, not Heru. This is coming from Johns Hopkins University. Do you see what it says?
John Hopkins study suggests medical errors are third leading cause of death in the U.S.
This is from 2016. Anyone can read that. This is from Dr. Martin McCary, who's now head of the FDA. Okay? Heru's not, like, I'm not making none of this up. I'm just telling you what is actually out there that you're just not being informed about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
This is our last question.
Yeah.
The brother has sebes. How do we pronounce that?
Yeah, sebaceous cyst.
A cyst on the right side of the neck. Want to get rid of it naturally.
So what I would want you to do is I want you to take the olive leaf extract, and then I want you to get DMSO plus castor oil. Rub it on that side of the neck and take the olive leaf extract, and then you can thank me in about a month. Okay?
Right. Right. Man. Whew. This is the beginning of something that we will be arduously pursuing, and we got to bring you. Have you ever did a show with KT alongside KT?
You know what's so funny?
Yes.
You know what's so
Yes.
funny?
Mhm.
Me and KT were booked to speak in the Virgin Islands at a lecture a year ago. And I
Yes.
saw KT at the lecture. We both spoke.
Oh man, is
Yeah.
that recorded? I need
I
to see
don't
that.
know. They might. I mean, I spoke and he spoke, but yeah, we were on the same lecture bill. But it was good
Look
to
how
see the
God
brother, because I hadn't seen him in some years, you know?
and years, right? Look how that works. You feel me?
Yeah.
The crucian connection.
Yeah. We were both
Um,
staying actually next door to each other. The promoters had us staying next door to each other. So it was good to see
man,
him, man.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yes, he's grown into a very fine young scientist, and I would definitely pay any amount of money to see you brothers on a platform, just going, just dropping this well needed information. They say health is wealth. I feel wealthier now, bro. I feel like I could potentially, be a solutionary and what means the most, because you could teach people things, but healing to me is the pinnacle of service. You know what I mean? It's the top of it. I remember days when I'm feeling down and out, you know what I mean? And I turn to my wife and I'm like, please help me. You know what I'm saying? Give me a remedy. And it's like in those times you realize how important anyone with a solution is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very grateful of that. So I have to make that happen. It's been so, this is a long time coming, you being on this program, and I really hope that somebody in this audience will be able to walk away from this feeling more wealthier, feeling more healthier, and possibly save a life or two or three or four or five. You know what I mean? Because I'm taking this information and I'm being very proactive with it immediately. Yeah, I'm not going to sit on this. I'm going directly to my loved ones with this information. Um, and I brought people to you over the past few months. You know what I mean? But it's only going to increase as a result. So, is there anything that you want to leave the family with? This is not a goodbye. This is just to see you soon.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing that I want to leave people with is hopefully it's not the information I gave, but it's the methodology. Because you see, the information becomes like, okay, this person becomes the source of your information. I don't want
Yeah.
to be the source of your information. I don't want to be your savior. I don't want to be your healer. What I want to be is I want to be able to show you the methodology that I use to get to my results so
Yes.
that you can learn how to do it yourself. So that you
Fact.
won't need me. I want to be not needed. So what I do is that I replicate everything I do when I give my lectures. I show people how I got to where I got, to how I got to find out the
Your
side effects of
conclusion.
medications. Right.
Right.
So now you don't have to ask me what's the side effect of medication. You can now use your smartphone in a smart way and
Right.
just do the same thing that I did. And you can, because I don't think I'm smarter than anybody.
Right.
I'm not smarter than anybody. I just have a methodology that I use. And so to me, the most important thing, and I think the most important thing for anyone who's in any leadership position to do is to replicate themselves. Because if the system wants to come for me, it doesn't matter. I've
Right.
replicated myself a million
Replicated
times.
multiple times.
You
That's a
see what I'm
fact.
saying? So it's like that's why I keep record of everything I do. I keep the videos, but I teach the people why they're taking certain things, why you have cancer, why you have diabetes. Why once people understand it, they can see it in their head. All of a sudden now, their mind opens up, and they'll never handle that sickness in the same way again.
No doubt. No doubt.
That's it.
That's
So if people want to check
very
me, just go to herbalresults.net.
okay.
Yeah, man.
Herbalresults.net, ladies and gentlemen, is right there in his placeholder, as you can see. Screenshot it. You already a KTL All Star. We're gonna make big moves in New Orleans in October. We're gonna literally turn that city inside out. You know what I mean? With this information, we're gonna have it spread throughout the whole of Louisiana, Texas, and everywhere where our people need this. I'm going to be very adamant. I'm even with Blue. I'm hitting Blue. I know he's kicking a can right now that he's not here, but I wanted it to be me and you to set it off. You know what I mean? Of course, Blue will be on the next show, and hopefully we'll get KT as well. And then the cherry on the top is Mama Pill. You know what I mean? I want to, you know, and it's all for the people, man. She has a great story that she's gonna be telling in October. I don't want to, prematurely put it out there, but she has a great story that I think everybody needs to hear, especially when it comes to the healers that need healing and whatnot. Um, yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. Um, any last words for the family?
Yeah, people can just reach me at herbalresults.net. And I hope that this was helpful for you. And it was educational and inspiring. And it will cause something in your mind to be able to engage in Kuju Chagalia, which is self determination, where you learn how to heal yourself because it's very, very, very possible to do, to just learn basic principles of health. And so I'm here to support you in that.
Right.
But remember that you are your own healer, and nobody should know your body better than you.
Super facts. Super facts. I agree totally. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, great news. We have a Labor Day sale taking place right now. This is a store-wide sale for both of our sites, KTL University, which is where our cyber library is, all of our content, our lectures, workshops, etc., even our bundle packs. And also the mart125.com. That's where you'll find the apparel and the merch, and things of that nature, the music, the books, all of those are on the sites. The code word is Labor Day. Okay. And that will be only for today up into, we'll extend it a little past midnight because the show is ending late. But take full advantage of the Labor Day sale, ladies and gentlemen. And with that being said, we're gonna end this with the song of you'll like this too, Heru. Pay me in crypto. We're gonna do a crypto show too, BTW. I want to bring you and my good brother Chicago Crypto. You are what we call a black Satoshi, one of the most sought after human beings on the planet right now. Melanated people who own Bitcoin and crypto. We call them the Black Satoshis. Man, I could go on for days, but we'll follow up on that. All right. Well, we're actually doing a documentary about these people, so we'll bring that to the family. But yeah, man, beautiful show, beautiful information. I'm so glad that we're starting off September. We're starting off the fall, autumn like this, and yeah, we're gonna keep this thing burning. All right.
All right.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you, and we will see you very soon. Techno Tuesdays with Spin City mañana. Peace, love, and light, and y'all stay focused, and let's stay healthy, and let's stay alive. Peace.
Players in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up at dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets sniffed out, acting gay up in Cisco. Man, take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso. I paused in kitchens and caused addictions. I paused prescriptions and caused inflictions. Lil Bixby playing in stores and bricks and on the dark web. You gotta pause every doors, cause encryptions. Tesla engines, pause the pistons. I seen every floor I leave sore and listing. For that action, they sponsored the Bronson. They was hooked on that shit like Johnson and Johnson. That freeway, Ricky Ross, straight out of Compton, straight out of Bompton. Red on blue, violence in the land. The projection of the will, the perfection of the kill, the reflection of the pills. I'm a frontline soldier, I'm no doja. These crystals not from focus in crypto. Diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up at dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets sniffed now, acting gay up in Cisco. Man, take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso. Hickory dickory down, hit a lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. Heavy in the pedal, we slip off a knot. Heavy in the ghetto, they crib walk a lot. Crib walk the crypto, lift off the stocks. Drips off the crystal and pots. Disco rods in the blocks on my chain from the crystal shop. In the light air, lift off the rock. Toe Virgil right chain on my block. White paint on my socks. White paint on my socks. Hickory dickory dock. Hit the lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot, we lick off a shot. Players in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up at dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets sniffed now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.